Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's become one of the most fascinating stories in the NFL. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and it's obviously what's going on with the Browns quarterback situation. And Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel basically fighting it out, Pearl, to see who's going to be that last quarterback to make the roster. We think that Flacco and Pickett are going to be on this roster. At least that's the feeling right now.
Really? Wait.
And that the two rookies are battling it out for that third spot. That's what I'm picking up from reading a lot of Browns people.
Oh, okay. Because I actually can't imagine them cutting Shedeur or Dillon Gabriel. I thought that would be shocking. I thought it was a Flacco or Pickett, one of those. Flacco or Pickett. I think that Flacco or Pickett, one of them has to go. Because I think whoever wins the starting job gets a start. And then you try to trade or just cut the other guy. You're going to draft Dillon Gabriel in the third round and cut him, or draft Shedeur Sanders in the fifth round and cut him?
Well, kind of. I mean, that's what we were told, especially with Shedeur, and we'll get into the evaluation of him in just one moment. Yeah. But that's what we were told when the Browns finally did stop his fall and his drop to the fifth round was, hey, it's fifth round. You can cut a guy. We talked to the, amazing Mary Kay Cabot. No risk, She's been covering the Browns for forever. No risk. It's fifth round. And you and I kind of looked at each other like, geez, can you really cut Shedeur Sanders and it'd be that easy? And we were told over and over again by Browns people, no. This was a flyer, basically, on Shedeur in the fifth round. You would say this about any quarterback in the fifth round, and he's just like everyone else. And you and I did raise an eyebrow to that. We thought, this is crazy because we all know, or we all think, that Shedeur's fall to the fifth round didn't have as much to do with football as it did with all the ancillary stuff.
Right. He's not a regular fifth-round quarterback.
Exactly.
At least we agree on that. I'm not sure everybody agrees on that because the market actually said he was a fifth-round quarterback, but he doesn't feel like a regular fifth-round quarterback. Actually, on this very topic, I had a random thought. Could you put either Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders on the practice squad?
No.
And my answer is probably not, but wouldn't it be fascinating if normally you
They'd
could
get poached away probably, right?
Well, I would imagine, but Shedeur on the practice squad would be the most interesting thing. A fifth-round pick, I think, usually they make the team, but fifth-round pick on the practice squad, which somebody poached Shedeur because nobody wanted him the first time around. Would they take him off the practice squad?
Great question.
Which speaks to how he's performing in camp, which is, by all reports, very good.
Yeah, very, very well. I mean, we had Nate Segura on the other day when we were doing our Mount Olympus of Cleveland sports gods, and he said that Shedeur looked amazing. And I don't think it was just blowing smoke. He didn't say that about everybody.
No. He didn't. That is an overstatement. He said Shedeur looks like a good quarterback.
Right, accurate.
You just said amazing.
Well, for a rookie, I mean, for camp, he's been in there for what, like 4 days? He was really high on Shedeur.
I did not sense that at all. I said he was saying for what we've seen, he looks like a good quarterback.
Hey, can you guys grab the Nate Segura sound from yesterday?
Maggie,
you have it already? You'll grab it for us. Okay.
Did you know I found something out about the Browns the Browns media has never seen Shedeur in an 11-on-11 practice. They've literally never seen.
It's all red zone stuff. And,
it's 7-on-7s. They've never even seen him in a team setting, which I couldn't believe because we've heard all these breathless reports on Shedeur. They haven't even seen him play a snap yet. So this is just throwing drills. And they said he looks like, he's very good arm and very accurate.
Yeah.
To say he's amazing, like this is hype. I'm saying, and I'm not disagreeing. I know what you said, what he said and what you're saying, but we have no idea. Like he looks amazing. This can't possibly be true. There's nothing to look amazing at.
Well, I think you got to take it at every step. I didn't say he looks amazing against the Steelers defense, in a cold weather game in the middle of December. That's not what I said. That's not what they're saying. That for this step of the process,
reports, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that the question is really, can Shedeur make this push here in Browns camp to? I don't know how high you can climb on the depth chart when you do have Pickett and Flacco there, but is there a possibility that he does push to get into and make Kevin Stefanski have to think about something? We've seen this quite a bit, right? Where guys come into camp and it is like a true competition.
Definitely.
And they end up proving themselves. Now, obviously, one of the most famous examples, of course, is Russell Wilson, right?
Yep.
And it's a little bit of a different situation. He wasn't a 5th-round pick. It didn't fall that much, but they had brought Matt Flynn in as the high-priced free agent, the Seattle Seahawks, back in the day. And Russ came in and took the job. So
that was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And when has it happened since then?
Well, so
Russ
got hurt and Justin Fields did end up taking the job from him, but it was because Russ got hurt. I don't know if he would have actually started the season.
It is very rare for a non-first-round quarterback to start as a rookie. Very, very rare. Yeah. There are reasons that it's happened, but usually it's an injury. We have that sound?
Yeah, so we have Nate Segura. So let's say Nate, who covers the team, who was with us, who was talking about Shedeur and how good he looked.
There's something about Shedeur. I got a chance to interview him. He is very confident, but not in a cocky way. Has a lot of belief in himself. I like him. I like the kid a lot.
Okay, more now on the football side.
Shedeur's look good, though. His ball placement is elite. His ability to layer throws is elite. I think he's got plenty of arm strength. We've seen that on display, certainly in camp at times.
Okay, so I said amazing. I'm sorry. Nate said elite twice. Same. Yeah. I'm not misquoting the guy.
Well, yeah, he said Shedeur's look good. That was the actual...
Elite ball placement, elite layering. Right? I mean, it's positive. That's what we can split hairs about.
It's very positive, but again, this is practice in shorts and not even with a pass rush.
Well, I'm just saying what they're saying. For this moment, not against the Ravens in a must-win game to go to the playoffs, but at this time in OTAs, he looks really good.
But would you grant me that this might be premature and that this is, in reality, it's more of a blank slate going into Browns? They're going into their first mandatory OTAs next week. I just feel like, and this is not you, like all these Browns reporters are basing this on next to nothing to me. And I do understand, like, yes, he's a very talented thrower of the ball. The worry about Shedeur is you said it from day one.
What's that?
Tends to drift when the pass rush comes on.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to handle.
My evaluation, me only.
Yeah, well, you said, no, you said
he goes backwards. I mean, yeah.
You're quoting Greg Cosell. He tends to drift. So
I'll take credit for it.
What do you mean?
My tape study.
I didn't say that. But anyway, yeah, generally, like, this is not real. This is all hype.
So then tell me what you make of this. This is another reporter who covers the team and has for a long time. His name is Zach Jackson, and he was on with our pal, Zach Gelb, the other day talking about Dillon Gabriel. So the Shedeur side of it, we just gave you from Nate Segura. And here's cackling Zach Gelb. No, here's Zach Jackson on the Zach Gelb show talking about Gabriel.
Dillon Gabriel does not look like an NFL quarterback to me, like 0%. So I don't know what's going to happen.
So why do they love Gabriel so much?
Well, they fell in love with the intangibles, right? But they have an analytic charting project that they have followed in the past, and they liked him. And so, you know, they were more than willing to admit, like, yes, you saw us in Mississippi at Jackson Darts thing. Yes, we've done the thing, but they kind of snuck in a trip to Oregon on their way to the highly publicized pro day at Colorado, and Gabriel was, you know, fairly impressive at the Senior Bowl.
Okay, so
here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Yeah, emphasis on the woof, woof, because listen, this is one person's opinion.
Woof,
Zach's been covering the team for a long time. Zach Jackson, that is, who was on Zach Gelb's show, says Gabriel does not look like an NFL quarterback. Well, so you think this is all hype around Shedeur. What do you make of the negative report about Dillon Gabriel?
So Gabriel went with the 30th pick in the 3rd round. This is at best a backup spot, right? Like, Nobody thought that he's not there to start. And obviously, I don't think they plan to start him. I don't think they plan to have Shedeur there. Right? They got Gabriel at the end of the 3rd round. They had no idea they were going to end up taking Shedeur in the 5th round. Don't you think like that kind of happened by accident almost, or without real thought ahead? Like when they pulled the trigger on Gabriel, they didn't think, oh my God, we're going to get Shedeur Sanders 2 rounds later. The owner interjected and said, you got to take this guy.
Yeah, I mean, you and I seem to think that the owner interjected. That's not what's coming out of the Browns, but to be fair.
It couldn't have been a plan to take Gabriel there. It felt like there was a disconnect.
No, it feels like Andrew Berry, the general manager, looks kind of aimless, or not aimless, but a little like schizophrenic if you're going to take Gabriel and then take Shedeur. But
it felt like
we kept hearing value with Shedeur in the 5th round. It's like, and you know what? If he looks good in camp, then the Browns may end up being right about this, but the process is flawed.
Well, they might have thought somebody else was going to take Shedeur. They're like, oh, God, let's take Dillon Gabriel so we don't have to take Shedeur because of all the extra attention he gets.
But then they took him anyway.
They took him anyway.
So what logic is that?
It was a different day, too, remember? So Dillon Gabriel went on day 2 of the draft. Shedeur went on day 3 of the draft. Something happened overnight. But anyway, put this hypothetical. Follow me on this. If Dillon Gabriel got drafted at the end of the 3rd round and Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted in Cleveland, would anybody care about Dillon Gabriel right now? And would anybody be focusing on him? He would just be like, oh, okay. He's basically a 4th rounder, a backup. Like he'd be like Will Howard in Pittsburgh or just a normal 4th round flyer quarterback.
No, now he's in a legit camp battle. That's what changed. I mean, this feels like a legitimate quarterback battle to make the team.
I don't think Dillon Gabriel would have been viewed that way. I think he would have been viewed as a backup, and everyone would be like, okay, it's going to be Pickett versus Flacco, and Gabriel will be this cute little backup in the background. But the thing is, Shedeur elevates the whole thing.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, Shedeur comes in with not 5th-round talent, as far as what he showed at Colorado.
Yeah, so, definitely. 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, great numbers.
He changed the whole dynamic of the Browns' offseason. I mean, just period, full stop.
But here's one more thing about the Browns. They have this brutal schedule, right? EJ mentioned it last night on the call. Like they have 8 games to start the season. They're all against winning teams.
Yep.
So do you really want Shedeur or Dillon to win that battle? No. I think you have to put a veteran out there. I think because of that reason alone, they are not going to throw Shedeur to that schedule. So I don't think he wins the job just based on that. And then we get into a situation. What do the Browns want out of this season? Do they want to see Shedeur? Do they want to see Dillon Gabriel? Or do they want to tank?
We're going to find out pretty quick. 888-710-4ISN. We're asking, do you think Shedeur can make a push here in Browns camp?
Woof.
Can we hear Deion from yesterday? So Deion was on the Asante Samuel podcast. I like
and
the
let's
name.
not forget Shallow.
Don't forget Shallow. Was not on this pod. I like the name of this pod. It needed to be said. It's kind of fun. By the way, Deion he's in some kind of gamer chair. It looks like a throne though, which is just completing the look, like chef's kiss. Here's Deion talking about how the negative reports about Shedeur, they were hurtful to the family.
Stop lying. You got to understand, my kids are built for everything. We had 2 TV shows, and then we had shows in high school with playing football in junior and senior year. So we've always been in front of the camera, so they know how to navigate. They know how to handle themselves. Yeah. And you're not going to catch them in no foolery and no mess. You're not going to do that whatsoever.
Okay, more from Deion about how equipped his kids are for the spotlight.
When you sit up there and say something like he went in a meeting unprepared, dude, Shedeur Sanders, who's had 6 different coordinators, who has still functioned and leveled up every time we brought somebody new in, and you're going to tell me situation. You're going to tell me he had on headphones. Shedeur, anybody know my son, understand he's a professional. He's going to go into a meeting with headphones on. Y'all come on, man.
Okay, one more from Deion about the pre-draft process and how it hurt Shedeur.
I never want to go anywhere anyway, man. So, I know there's a lot of rumors about the next level, and I can't see that. Yeah. I can't see the next level. And I think a couple people who may have taken shots at my kids, they were afraid that I would go to that next level. And that's where the shots came from. All you got to do is just sit back and listen. And watch.
That's all you got to do.
But people don't want to do that. They want to create these narratives and create these stories and then attach them to a kid that ain't never done nothing wrong.
Okay, so that's Perloff. The last cut is more in line with what you think, which is the reason why Shedeur dropped to the 5th round is because Deion, not just having a microphone and being a star and, being outspoken, but that he could be a potential threat to whoever draft Shedeur. Is Deion going to be coaching his son again soon and taking you out of a job?
If I'm Brian Schottenheimer in Dallas, I would keep Shedeur Sanders as far away from that building as possible. I'm thinking of certain situations and Kevin Stefanski, I would look over your shoulder. I don't know that Deion would even want to coach in Cleveland. He wants to coach his son. Yeah, it's a unique situation. We never really had. I can't think of any time where there's a quarterback's dad is an elite college coach with a NFL Pro Bowl experience, 1 million connections, who said, the only reason I'd coach in the NFL is to coach my son. He never should have said that.
Yeah, so, it's funny because the person who really put their name on it, so to speak, about how bad the pre-draft interview was with Shedeur is actually Brian Daboll. So I don't know if Deion had any connections to the Giants, but Daboll kind of became the face of the Shedeur criticism. He wasn't the only one who did it, but it was through Todd McShay, who said that Daboll said that, and I feel like we're in the high school cafeteria, but he said, didn't you hear that Shedeur, didn't do that well in these pre-draft interviews? Yesterday when I first heard this, I thought, I get it. I get Deion trying to defend his kid. I do. And any parent would do it. And you feel like people are telling lies for their own benefit about your kid. The instinct is to scream from the high heavens, you're lying, you're wrong.
Right.
It's the last thing that Shedeur needs, though. Like, think about everything that's been coming out of Browns camp that he's been fitting in, that it hasn't been the Shedeur show. He, tried to tamp down that stupid story about the car that I didn't know what color it was. I thought it was brown. You guys told me it was olive green.
Tough look.
I've got an ophthalmologist appointment coming up because I'm worried about my brain now.
As are all we.
My rods and cones are all messed up. Mm-hmm. But
cornea.
I think that, this is the last thing that Shedeur needs. The NFL, in some way, told you no thanks for 4 rounds.
Yep.
And so we were wondering, all right, is Shedeur going to take that, internalize it? Is he going to use it as rocket fuel? And it looks like so far he has. He's doing the Tom Brady thing. He's putting the chip on his shoulder, and maybe this becomes part of his origin story. When you got Deion out there being like, you know what? It's actually all fake. It's all lies. It's all BS. It's taken away from I want to say that it's like the learning lesson, like the lesson that maybe needed to be taught, that Shedeur got this big dose of humble pie. I don't know if he deserved it or he didn't, but he got it. So now how do you handle it? We've all been there. Everyone's been humbled a time or two, and it's how do you respond to it? And so far, Shedeur responded great to it, and then Deion's going to be out here like, no, it's lies. He's kind of excusing it away. It's like, no, this was a moment for everyone to look in the mirror and say, why did the NFL, with all Deion's connections, with all that, was it really because they were just afraid that Deion was going to come take their jobs? That's why 31 teams passed on him?
Well, I kind of think what you're implying is that Deion is being untruthful, that Shedeur did. But your take here that Shedeur should have used this whole process as a humbling experience means that Shedeur was cocky and wearing headphones into the interview. So
I'm just saying, I don't know
both things can't be true. Either Deion's lying and Shedeur did come in with the wrong attitude, which Deion is saying is flat out not true.
Flat out lie, right.
Yeah. Or if he came in with a professional attitude, then why would he be humbled by this?
So this is, I think, what I'm saying. It's time to turn the page on that.
Right.
And I get that's why I started this by saying, as a parent, I get the instinct to go on Asante Samuel's podcast and be like, everyone's lying, and it's about, they're just mad at me, they're scared of me, and they're taking it out of my kid. I get that. Does that help Shedeur? No. I think you got to turn the page on this whole thing. That happened. The draft fall happened. He's in a straight-up camp battle where guys are going on national morning shows saying he looks like he's got elite ball placement and elite layering. Let Shedeur's play just sort of speak for itself. We don't need Papa Bear there at all times defending his kid, because I think a lot of people wanted Shedeur to maybe cut some of the apron strings anyway, and he's doing it, so let him do it, Deion. I'm not going to tell someone how to parent at all. But, let's let that lie in the past and let the play for Shedeur do the talking, because so far he's doing well.
It's funny, I kind of believed Deion in the sense that I was very surprised that people accused Shedeur of being non-professional, because he seemed like a pro in the sense that he kind of seemed like an NFL quarterback who happened to be playing college football, had his own podcast, had all these business deals all over the place, and obviously ran a very professional offense. He had Pat Shurmur as his offensive coordinator. I didn't totally understand what was going on, and I still don't understand. See, one thing I disagree with is I would like to know what happened in this draft process. I'd like more details. Did he really tank interviews intentionally? I think it's very possible. I'd like to know, it did seem like some people in the NFL, not just Brian Daboll, had a major issue with him. Like, why? What was going on? It seems like a lot of teams had a major issue with him. Was he just a jerk in these interviews? That's the thing. I think Deion's saying that's not true, but by saying that, what you're saying is he should take this and eat humble pie, that means it was true. So I don't know. There's going to be a 30 for 30 someday on this. You know that, right? On Shedeur's fall. Maybe we'll get our voices in there. This is definitely a thing. So I don't know if you could just be like, let's move on, because there's this reputation out there that Shedeur intentionally or maybe not intentionally was just a bad dude in these interviews.
Yeah.
It's never going to get rid of that stigma.
I want to be careful here. I'm not saying about, I totally get your points. I want to be careful here. I'm not saying that he necessarily deserved the humble pie, but he got it. Not all of us who get served the humble pie deserve to get it. But then it's how do you respond to it? And so far he's responding well. So if I'm Deion, let the sleeping dogs lie. Just move on, for now.
That's why teams didn't want Shedeur, because they know Deion's never been one to shy away from a mic. Deion's never been one to hold anything back. It is his entire life.
And let's not forget Shiloh.
I mean, you're telling Deion to, hey, let's cool it, man. Let's not talk about our son and let's just let it be whatever. That's not Deion. Deion couldn't do that if he tried, Maggie. Like, he cannot hold back. If there's a mic there, he's just something magical happens where he has to say things into it.
You can run.
Well, it's funny because he's almost like weirdly taking credit for the fall, which I also understand. You want to try to shield your kid and be like, no, don't take it personally. It wasn't about you. It was actually about me. But
I'm going to hug him.
It's Shedeur's got to blaze his own path now. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And as much as I clown the Browns because they deserve it, this might have been one of the best situations he could have landed in, because he's actually competing in a camp battle in a situation where he could absolutely start. There's another, if he had gotten drafted by like the Chiefs or something and you just get to sit behind Patrick Mahomes and go to quarterback school, that also probably would have been great for him. But you're not sniffing the field.
Well,
Cleveland,
you said something
because
interesting. He has to blaze his own trail. He's never had another coach except for Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
That scared the NFL big time, too. That's a very rare situation. How many times has a guy come into the NFL and only had one coach his whole life? So you're right. He has to blaze his own trail. But don't expect Deion to stay away from the mic, Maggie. You're asking way too much.
It's
way
so funny,
too much.
Because, we got Big 12 media days that happen. Deion's got a whole college program that he's coaching right now.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I just reminded you that he's the head coach of Colorado still.
Yeah.
Well, now
there.
that Shedeur is gone, does anyone really care? I mean, now that
kinda.
Travis Hunter's...
Because I want to know where he's going to coach next.
I also want to know if he's good, because maybe he was only good because his sons were there.
And Travis.
Possible. Yeah, I think there are a lot of people think now that Shedeur's gone, okay, Deion will do 2 more years of this and move on to the NFL.
Some of Deion's clock management stuff at the end of games.
Oh, what was that, Maggie?
Did I say that?
What? I mean, dude, he pulled out some rabbits at the end of games too, but I always thought that was Shedeur. He won a lot of ridiculously close games that he should have lost as well.
Exactly.
I said, you don't know me. Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, he does have. I like his quarterback. So what did he get? He got the number 1 recruit, and he got Caden Salter. He can recruit. We know that. That's all. I mean, college football. But is he going to be interested if Shedeur is not there? That's why NFL teams didn't want him, Maggie. Of course he's not. Of course he's going to want to get in the NFL.
Can Shedeur make a push in Browns camp? We're asking you, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And do you credit Deion for defending Shedeur here, or do you think he should try to back off if he can?
Joe Flacco?
Got some Flacco comments for you as well. Coming up, we've got news for you out of the NFL that you're going to want to hear. It's very important to this show. And a surprise person who came out guns a-blazing on college football, powers that be. I did not see this coming. There's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of...
No smoke dodging at all.
Oh, it was great. It's the best thing he's ever done. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Don't move. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You don't live in Cleveland.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Ethos Life, the easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Just a few health questions. Get your free quote at checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Oh, my God. Someday, Bogues and I will let you in on the Andrew Perloff, Andrew Bogues text thread, by the way.
Oh, you guys got a side thing going on?
We got a side thing going on. It's
We're
mostly
almost friends. What a bro.
Well, Bogues burrows in and gets to the front seat of that car to get to San Antonio.
We have a common enemy. The the sigh of relief when the Knicks lost on the Andrews
Don't
was
do
amazing.
it. Just let them, let EJ and Manny just mourn in peace.
I hate Manny. I did. I didn't text either one of them. I just texted everyone else who I knew was excited that their season was over.
I would say that. I would say that
Manny
had
Rodriguez.
I would say that had sigh of relief when the Sixers season was over, but I actually don't even remember when that happened. It was in December, or
And Brooklyn season ended back in August, so
I'm
good.
Like, I don't even remember when I was like, oh, glad
do you remember
those
when the
Bozos are done.
Sixers got the number 3 pick in the lottery because they tanked? Because
Congrats,
that was awesome.
you're not going to get on Cooper Flag. Congrats, you missed out on Cooper Flag.
You're talking to Knicks fans about how tanking works?
This is a great draft.
Also, Bogus.
Yeah, the Knicks aren't good at it.
Bogus, you
We're
want to
better.
talk? You want to talk smack? Is Juan Soto batting above 250 yet, buddy?
I was over 230 now.
Oh, 200 and above.
Mets won again last night. I hope you noticed that.
Yeah, that one happened late.
Yeah.
I will tell you the other
Only
straight
took
of the
them
thread
extras.
is at times I'm just gonna say it. We have made fun of the baby Maggie image at times.
Wait a minute. I'm getting strings on this thread?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
it all starts out because we love passing baby Theo Vaughn videos to each other. And that got us into Andrew Kaplan, our social media expert guru, who did some baby photos of us. And the baby Maggie photo is just everything about it is wrong.
I know.
Ain't
I look like
nobody
I'm a
floating.
receptionist at some kind
You're
of
wearing
like
the-
an insurance company or something.
You're wearing the wrong outfit to be a baby, and it's hysterical. So, yes, we have mentioned the baby Maggie video before.
What am I going to do about that? It's
Nothing.
an AI rendition of me as a baby, and I was also bummed because Perloff's baby AI was way cuter than
Dashing,
mine.
yeah.
And, dashing.
I said, a baby that's a blue sport coat? Bring it on.
Mine had a mustache.
If I can add as well, Perloff's Mount Olympus AI photo is hotter than yours too. So that the new drought to be
Okay.
busted is you losing computer-generated pictures.
So, by the way,
swim, honey.
you should be thanking me for that
Ain't
AI
nobody
toga
floating.
picture that's on the Mount Olympus because I saw that long before you did. EJ knows this, and I gave it the 2 thumbs up because it still doesn't look like me. No AI version of me looks like me, whether adult or baby. But yours looked great, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
I approved that one and gave it a big thumbs up.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there is backstory
make fun of my
here.
AI
Because
baby
it's
now.
not just the AI, too. It's the book. It all started with the book.
Dude, the book.
You just
I mean,
listen.
sorry.
Be happy that you're great in person. You just can't be fabricated in any way.
I mean, yeah.
You just gave me the she's got a great personality, but takes a terrible photo.
Well, it's just also, too, there were no photos.
Not
It's
even
when people
photos.
draw you, I don't know what
Or
happens.
computers.
You're
I
better
know.
looking in photos than you are in whatever it is. You just don't translate to cartoon. You just don't.
I know. It's been plaguing me my whole life.
But you
Batty.
made it worse, by the way, because we would all just be like, oh, that's kind of cute. But you were like, should I change this? You made it a big topic. Should I call the publishers like HarperCollins and have them change this image of me in a book?
Wah, wah, wah. I went right to the author.
Yeah. I mean, the book was already out, too. Like they
No,
were
it's not out yet.
Well, they
I
were
still want to
basically
be-
recalled the
but
book.
you know, like the logistics of changing it. Like they were recall the book. It would not have been easy. You're like, I know it's a big ask, but I really don't like this rendition of me.
It's been translated into 25 languages already. No, I look like a meatball in that thing. It was just, it felt like almost inflammatory, like they were trying to troll me. Girl, you got it? It's like, wait a minute. This is like, I'm doing a favor for somebody. This is a friend of a friend. And you're going to like basically do me dirty like that with the photo. Baddie. And by the way, I thought that I was going to get sympathy from you guys like, don't worry, it's in your head. And you all saw that drawing and you were like, ooh.
I wrote you emails.
Well, no, when
You followed up. You're like, I'm worried about you.
When we set up the story, we thought you were being ridiculous. Like, oh my God, Maggie, this
How
is
vain, right?
How vain, right? And then when we saw the picture, we understood.
Well, I still say you look like Caillou, which I don't think is that bad.
Oh, that's bad.
I don't think it's
She's
bad.
a lady.
I don't get it.
I don't know what that means, and I just
You're
got another
comparing her
stray.
to a bald child on a cartoon, bro.
But everybody
Bald?
everybody on Caillou looks like Caillou. That's the point. It's like weird. It's like a weird drawing. It's like that was the style.
Man. And, you know, I thought the
Millennial
worst that could
pals
ever
know.
happen was like, you know, when you are at like a theme park or something and you can get the caricatures.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you really want to, we're talking about humble pie before with Shedeur. You really want the humble pie, go sit down with one of those people. I got a picture of one of those drawn of me when I was like 12 years old. Tears.
Oh my God! So people have always been drawing you poorly.
I mean, the buck teeth. Terrible.
I mean,
and
I think
AI's not helping, which
I've
is
had
funny.
those
It helps
pictures, and,
everyone
like,
else.
Those artists are generally pretty sympathetic. Like they make you look exaggerated, but they don't want to make you look bad.
Can I tell you? Actually, had this moment, and I didn't know what to do. So this cartoonist, like caricature person, drew me once at like a party when I was growing up, and it was so bad that it left me in tears. Like it was so like the buck teeth and a big forehead and all this stuff. I was 12. I think the guy might have been drunk. I don't know. It's the allegations. Anyway,
this is amazing.
Were you drunk? Maybe.
The history of
I wish I
bad
had
drawings.
been.
He definitely didn't like you.
So how about this?
Go ahead.
So you guys know, and I don't like to bring this up, but I'm bringing it up just for the purposes of this story, that I was recently, like within the last year, inducted into my hometown sports Hall of Fame. And the guy was, and thank you. The guy was there doing caricatures. He's much older now. And I thought
he'd be younger.
thought about saying to him, I thought about being like, hey, man, you really hurt my feelings.
You are the best. Stay alive.
He's not that old. I thought about saying something like, hey, man, that really hurt my feelings, back at the, Sweet 16 party, whatever it was.
You should have baked it in like Michael Jordan in his Hall of Fame speech. You should have just had this. I remember that guy over there. He drew a picture of me.
So then
look at me now.
Can I tell you what happened? So
Lord have mercy, man.
we all got to make like a little 5-minute speech at the Hall of Fame induction. And so he drew another photo of me. And it was like this really over-the-top sexy photo. Not photo, a caricature. And so I was like, well, now you're just playing mind games with me, man.
This is some guy. He's still doing this job 3 decades later, and now he's doing like boudoir photos.
I'm confused. Did you accept your award in a suit jacket or were you wearing a two-piece?
I wasn't in a bikini. There was no lingerie. I was just wearing a dress. But it was like to the sexiest broadcaster, blah, blah, blah. And I have it now.
Get away from that guy.
I'm wet. I'm dirty.
I've got a plaque. I've got a pin. I've got the pamphlet from that night, and then then this random caricature.
And a stalker's memorabilia.
Amazing.
What?
So random.
And he handed it to me at the end of the night.
The guy is drunk.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on with this guy?
Yeah.
What's going on? What is it with you that inspires these odd drawings?
I don't know.
After all that.
I should have given him the Zesty Cat. It didn't exist then.
I can't believe this has been a lifelong issue for you.
I know.
What a development.
But what am I supposed to do with all this? It's real.
Stop taking pictures.
Therapy, Maggie.
Too late, man. I'm already there.
Oh.
I should bring this up.
More therapy.
Bring it up to your therapy.
Go twice a week.
One thing, Bogues and I also have.
I started at Jenna's Sweet 16 when I was.
Can I tell you the other thing in Bogues and I's text thread? It's baby Theo Vaughn making fun of baby Maggie and following the fact that there are only 5 NHL coaches that keep recycling around each other. So I'm on John Tortorella watch. I'm so excited to text Bogus when John Tortorella gets hired.
And there is a new development because the Boston Bruins haven't hired a head coach yet.
Yeah, there you go.
And the Dallas Stars are considering firing Pete DeBoer. And people want the Bruins to wait to hire him if he does become free.
Wait,
so
the Stars are planning on firing their coach?
Well, I mean, this is deep hockey. He did not handle their exit very well. He basically threw their goalie under the bus.
Oh,
so the whole locker room might hate him right now.
I see the issue.
I mean, Pete DeBoer's also coached, 4 teams?
He's moved around, yeah.
But John Tortorella
just like every other NHL coach.
How many times? Yeah. Anyway, it's just so funny to me. Like, because I'm not a hockey expert. Bogues knows hockey well, but I do like to jump on these coaches. Rick Tocchet or John Tortorella gets a new job.
Can you imagine all these guys when they go to on road trips? They must just walk around the downtowns and be like, I wonder where I want to live in the future and anywhere in the next 5 to 10 years when I'm coaching.
Still works at that Dunkin' Donuts.
Might as well just invest in real estate all over the NHL. All right.
You might want to rent if you're these guys. Yeah, definitely.
Want to give us a couple headlines?
I will, but I also want to point out, as you're talking, I noticed there is one acceptable picture behind you. You look fine in that picture.
And this one, I forgot to put it up.
Yeah.
This is the one of me.
So it can be done.
Giving Perloff a pie in the face.
That was all done by the same artist, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was Nick in Texas. His friend did both of these. And we have one of, actually, there's 3. There's one of Perloff had to do a hat full of barbecue sauce.
You should be like a president where you only got like a presidential portrait. Like he should be the only person that draws pictures of you.
Keep him on retainer.
Yeah. Right, but didn't Trump, like Maggie, complain about one of his photos?
I mean, they didn't give me a 6-pack. Is that what he complained about? I don't even remember.
Oh, no. He really went after one painting. By the way.
Yay, military.
Yeah, I mean, this has happened before. I mean, with the Ronaldo statue, sometimes Sometimes things just don't work out.
Oh, the D Wade statue.
The D Wade statue.
Yeah,
We did
those
a
are
month of
different
content on the D Wade statue.
Thanks for that, Miami. Heat culture, baby.
Headlines, by the way, are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Deeper.
They have been playing baseball at Fenway Park since 1912. And something happened there last night for the very first time.
Here's the pitch on Adele. He swings at this one. He hits one high, and he hits it deep, and that one is out of here. That one is over the green monster and back past the stands, and the Angels now have a 6-0 lead.
That's Terry Smith on Angels Radio. Joe Adele hitting the third homer at the top of the first. A visiting team had never done that before at Fenway. Anaheim held on for a 7-6 win over the Red Sox.
Mike Trout 1 yard in that first inning. Go Manny.
The Mets blew a ninth-inning lead, then won in 10 at Dodger Stadium 4-3. That's 4 in a row, 8-9 for New York. The Brewer win streak is 8 after a 3-2 win in Cincinnati. And then there are the A's.
Ground ball, base hit, right field. Here comes Clemens. He's going to score. France being waved. Throw to the plate, way off the mark. And the Twins add on 2 with a base hit by Byron Buxton and now lead 8-4.
They won 10-4 with Byron Buxton driving in 5. The A's have now dropped 7 straight, 18 of 19. They are 9-20 in Sacramento.
Yikes.
Yankees closer Luke Weaver expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury suffered warming up Sunday night at Dodger Stadium.
Season's over.
The best of 3 Women's College World Series final is now set. Texas blanked Tennessee 2-0 in the afternoon. Then Texas Tech outlasted Oklahoma last night 3-2. Those Sooners had won the previous 4 national titles. Now the Longhorns or Red Raiders will win their very first. Guys, back to you.
Amazing story, yeah. How Texas Tech had basically lured over one of the best pitchers in softball from Stanford, $1 million in NIL. And then she was on the mound last night, which was really, really cool. Anyway, thank you, Bogish. Coming up, somebody unexpected went off on college football yesterday and, got to be honest, making some really good points, and we're here for it. 888-710-4ISN. We've got that for you next.
What?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff here on Infinity Sports Network, Sirius XM channel 375. If you're looking for us, new channel, who dis? Okay, we got to get to some college football stuff because, Pearl, the Big 12 meetings happen. I know we talked a lot about the SEC, but the Big 12 meetings deserve our attention because their commissioner, Brett Yormark, said something very interesting about the future of the college football playoff format. This 5+11 model, which very simply is the Power 4 conferences now all get an automatic bid, and the group of 5, whoever wins that championship, also gets an automatic bid. The other 11 bids are all up to the committee. They're all at-large bids. Here's what Brett Yormark had to say about the 5+11 model.
In talking to our ADs and coaches, we want to earn it on the field. The 5-11 might not be ideal for the conference, but it's good for college football, and it's what's fair. And we don't want any gimmies. We want to earn it on the field, and that was the direction of the key stakeholder group, the ADs and the coaches, and I feel very comfortable with that, and I feel the same way.
Okay, so let's just pause on something. There's another proposal out there, Pearl, that would be 4 automatic qualifiers for the SEC, 4 for the Big 10, 2 for the ACC, and 2 for the Big 12. So there is a world where the Big 12 would get 2 automatic bids every single year. In what Brett Yormark, the commissioner, is proposing, they would only be guaranteed 1. He's saying that they want to earn it on the field. They don't want any gimmies. They don't want any handouts. So here comes Joel Klatt. I'm going to say, of all people, because he's been, he's a great announcer, awesome broadcaster. I'm a fan. But he's not generally very critical of anything that has to do with college football. He just loves the sport and wants to promote it. He says in no uncertain terms, the Big 12 would be screwed if they go to the 5+11 model.
Think about the gamble. Think about the gamble that putting the sport in the boardroom is for the Big 12 and the ACC. If they're going to take a position that the 5-11 model, 5 automatics and 11 at-large bids, is better for the sport, then I think more often than not, we're going to have years like we had last year, in which we would have had, I believe it was 6 teams from the SEC and 3 teams from the ACC, 4 teams from the Big Ten. And guess what the Big 12 got? 1. They would have gotten 1 team in last year.
Right. So more from Klatt saying the Big 12, you're voting against your own interests, and this would be bad for college football if you go the 5+11 model.
Make it make sense. It doesn't. How can you earn it on the field when you're trying to put basically the entire playoff in the boardroom of the College Football Playoff Committee? Because actually what the 5-11 model does is hurt the sport. It does not make the sport better.
Okay, so that's just a little from Joel Klatt, but he went on and on about how could the Big 12, think this is better? How could they say this is determining it on the field when you're going to have a committee decide 11 of the 16 at-large bids?
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like both sides are negotiating right here, because I know Greg Sankey was on Dan Patrick's show yesterday and said no conference affiliations. Go all into the quote-unquote boardroom, which I'm for,
no
too.
No automatic bids.
No automatic bids at all. So the SEC and the Big Ten want, I think the SEC, it's interesting that Sankey said that. Like, they probably just want all, I think at this point, the SEC wants the committee to decide and say, no, they're going to pick all SEC teams. But I don't understand one thing about Joel Klatt. Like, what has the Big 12 done to earn 2 spots here? Like, their teams are not as good.
Right. So what he's saying, because I listened to the whole pod, he said that he thinks this is also for the future. Like, if you don't give teams a reasonable way to show how you get to the college football playoff, if you don't give them, like, I would say hope, but if there's not an obvious path, like if you do this, 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 and this, then you're going to get to the college football playoff. He thinks that if you start favoring the SEC and the Big Ten even more, it just funnels everything more to those teams. Like, no one's going to schedule a Big 12 team as an out-of-conference, right? Why do that? Because you'd rather, if you're the SEC or the Big Ten, play your own conference and then schedule Little Sisters the Poor, because the quality of the win doesn't generally matter, just the fact that you have a win. And he said, it's not going to help grow the sport. It's just going to help these 2 conferences get more and more power.
So, but what you're saying is, so you should artificially boost 2 teams that don't deserve to be there. That's what I'm hearing.
I think what he's trying to say is, if you have to keep the carrot out there that these are, if you're going to call them power programs, right, and they are power conferences, that you can show there's a reasonable path to get to the college football playoff. So, an SEC team that has 4 losses would get in over a Big 12 team that has 2 or has 1 or something like that. Well, I mean,
a lot of these teams weren't even major conference teams, like, until very, very recently.
Right, but whose fault is that? I mean, that was the SEC and the Big Ten gobbled everything up.
Well, I mean, like, why would the powers to be at college all of a sudden worried if Central Florida has a shot? Like, that was a mid-major for years and years and years. It just seems odd that this is a hill to die on. Like, who cares about these programs? I'm sorry, that's going to sound awful, but, like, is that really a priority of the sport to boost up Iowa State?
So it's funny because it's one thing for Joel Klatt to say it, and which we should also say, like, Fox does a lot of Big 12 games, right? Obviously, they were doing all those Colorado games. So
so if they have Colorado, which, but by the way, another program that was been irrelevant for 20 years until Deion got there.
Sure, but I guess, like, so I'm saying, maybe there are agendas that are agendaing, as EJ likes to say. But
sure,
I think that also, you are really giving all the power in the world to the SEC and to the Big Ten, and it's weird that a conference commissioner would do that. So that's where this all started.
5+11 though is a compromise, right?
No, but wouldn't you want to?
At least you get 1.
Wouldn't you staunchly be arguing for the at least 2 automatic bids if you're the Big 12? If you're the ACC, they should band together and say we want 2 automatic bids, not 1.
I mean, the ACC should be able to get 2. They have a lot of programs in the Southeast. Like, they should be able to get 2 teams in, but that's besides the point. Yeah, you're right, but I think the 5+11, you're not going to probably get that 4-4-2-2 model.
Yeah.
I think that seems like a lot to me. Like, because the trend seems to be towards deregulation instead of more rules.
I know, but, like, again, it's weird for a conference commissioner to essentially be stumping like against their own interests here. Like, you would never catch Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, being like, no, we not a lot of automatic bids. They're trying to get as many as possible, right?
No, well, he literally said no. He said open the field yesterday.
Well, that's lately. That's not the first proposal that came out where they wanted 4 automatic bids.
Yeah, I hear you, but I feel like 5 plus 11 feels more realistic to me.
The only problem, too, about going off the rankings is it almost doesn't matter if you win or lose the game. It just matters who's on your schedule, which is crazy.
But it's the opposite of the way they chose it this year.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Starting to get a little nervous here for the Detroit Lions. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. I don't think I'm being an alarmist here either. I think if even the most diehard Detroit Lions fan who loves this turnaround, Perloff, and good morning, and loves what they've seen from Dan Campbell, how could your confidence not be shaken a little bit, considering not just how they lost in the playoffs now 2 seasons in a row, just brutal, painful, but now the news that we've gotten throughout this season, the latest is that their all-pro center, Frank Ragnow, is retiring after 7 years. This guy has had every injury under the sun. He's played through every injury under the sun. And I know they drafted his backup and Tate Ratledge, right? But at the same time, it's a big deal to have a big part of your offensive line basically hang it up when you're mounting what you hope is a Super Bowl run this year.
Yeah, I mean, combined with, I think the reason everyone's down on them, maybe not you as much because you're not as into this guy as I am, but Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, is leaving. So they have one of his assistants will presumably run the same offense, but this feels like a very dire situation. You lost both coordinators and a very good defensive coordinator in Aaron Glenn. So you already have that. Your schedule's insane. You have one of the hardest schedules in the league. And here's a really big issue is Aiden Hutchinson and Aiden McNeil are coming off devastating injuries.
Yep.
So will we even see them by week 1 is a major question. So, yeah, definitely expectations have to lower compared. They won 15 games last year. This is not a normal 15-win team. You definitely have to take them down a peg. I agree. I was sort of slow. You were on this a little earlier than me, but I would 100% take them down a peg.
So let's not forget, they ended the season with 16 players on IR.
Yeah.
13 of them were on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it was just decimated with injuries. You mentioned the big ones about Hutchinson and McNeil. I mean, it was everybody. It was from those guys to the kicker got hurt. I mean, Carlton Davis, he hurt his jaw. Like, it was everything from the typical football injuries to the not typical. They got so bit by that. And then, I'm wondering where the confidence is right now in Dan Campbell, because even if you want to use those injuries as, I'm going to be honest, I think they're an excuse, but I mean, 16 guys on IR, but you did have a rookie quarterback come in and beat you on your home turf. The year before, you are in the driver's seat to go to the Super Bowl. You're up by 3 scores, and you blew that game between the coach and the players. However you want to divide up that blame pie, fine. But that game in San Francisco, even if you're a team that's, so happy to be out of the depths and out of the doldrums, it doesn't mean that the losses don't hurt. It doesn't mean you should be able to say, oh, we're just happy to be here all the time. You're ahead by 3 scores and you lose that game. You let a rookie come in. You can't just say, oh, well, Lions football's back. We got grit. We've got toughness. No, that's scar tissue. Those losses hurt.
Yeah, I don't see eye to eye with you. I think they got to love Dan Campbell. They just won 15 games last year, and they're the Detroit Lions. Of course you change expectations. Like, it's Dan Campbell just turned around like the most woebegone franchise in the NFL. I almost think you're saying he's on the hot seat.
I'm just saying I don't think that he can ask the fans for this blind faith anymore, because you've had, the scar tissue does start to build up, and it builds up pretty fast, because think about it. You've had all these lean years, and that's being nice. You've had all these years where you're bottom feeder, laughing stock, all of that. So you're kind of inclined to have this when is the other shoe going to drop mentality anyway, because your history, you don't have a lot to look back on and say, oh, look at that, look at championship, look at our championship DNA. You have none of that in Detroit. And now Campbell had you in such a good position to make a run. You did make a run 2 years ago, and you blew it. And then last year, you're a 15-win team, as you said, and I know there were injuries, but you got a home game against Jaden Daniels, and you lost badly.
Well, 2 years ago, they probably weren't ready to be there. I mean, you saw the key fourth down plays where was it Josh Reynolds dropped a pass, and then my guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, fumbled the ball. Like, that happens. That was 100% not on Dan Campbell. Those two mistakes cost him the entire game. Like, what was he supposed to do differently? Like, he can't run out there and not fumble the ball. That was a fluke in my mind, and they really weren't even ready to go there. And then last year, I mean, when Aiden Hutchinson went down, our initial reaction was, well, the Lions are done. That was he was defensive front runner for defensive player of the year.
Yep.
Breaks every part of his leg. Of course you downgrade them, but they, because of their offense, were able to keep that expectation high. Like, I think you're being unrealistic about this team. You have to remember, they traded Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff, who nobody ever thought would do anything, and turned into the elite team in the NFC. So I think Dan Campbell has plenty of rope to work with here. In fact, I even think they could be bad this year, and you could be that's fine. Like, you obviously build a winning culture here. Let's keep it going.
I mean, to be honest, though, has not Stafford, as good as this has been, as unexpected, I'll say, as this has been with Jared Goff, you still have Stafford won a Super Bowl, and Stafford got further in the playoffs than them last year.
But that trade was a no-brainer. Look at I actually don't have the trade back to front. You built a actual franchise out of that trade. It was an amazing deal. You have so much young talent all over the roster. You have Penny Sewell, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Unfortunately, you have Aiden Hutchinson on a broken leg. Now, if Aiden Hutchinson was healthy, none of this conversation would be
Apparently
happening.
He looks good, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just worried. I'm saying if he was healthy last year, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Injuries happen. I can't blame Dan Campbell for any of that. I know I'm making excuses, but I don't get the sense that the Lions blew it. Now, this year is a different animal. Like, you look at the odds, they are not amongst the elite. There's a top tier. They're in tier 2. So I think people are acknowledging. And then Frank Ragnow was a blow yesterday. I totally agree with that. Now they're even a little lower than tier 2.
Well, because one of the big things that you always talk about it is, as much as we think of the Lions offense as like they're a fourth down and a go for it and throw in the ball and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're a run team. I mean, with Jahmyr Gibbs and how they've been able to lean on that offensive line has really, really helped them. Now with Frank Ragnow not there, I mean, having a center not just calling out protections and helping Jared Goff, which he absolutely did. You read it all over the place yesterday, what a help he was to Goff. But, being able to run the ball with Gibbs in this really effective way.
Well, really, Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yeah, Montgomery and Gibbs.
No, but the thing about that was Ben Johnson to me. Like, the other teams had a hard time figuring out where the run was coming from. He was very creative. But on the bright side, they still have Penny Sewell. I mean, he's amazing. And they still have tons of guys all over that offense. So I don't think the offense is a problem. I really worry about the defense.
Johnny Morton. Been a long time NFL assistant coach. EJ knows him from the Jets. You probably wanted to forget about that. But he's been all over the place. He was a Gruden guy, I think, mostly. And he's running the offense now. And the defense is Kelvin Shepard. Let's hear from Dan Campbell. Said he's not worried about all these obstacles facing the Lions.
I'm not worried about that we don't have pass rush. I'm not worried about that we lost 2 coordinators. I'm not worried about the injuries. I'm not worried about the Hall of Fame game. I'm not worried about the schedule. I think it's perfect. I think it lines up perfect. I think it's going to be what's best for us with where we're at going into 2025. My 5th year here, the core of this team's 5th year. I really think it's exactly what we're going to need. The timing is perfect.
You really listed off the laundry list there.
Which side are you on in this debate?
When you put them all in a row like that, really kind of feels like things are stacked against.
But that's pure Dan Campbell, right?
But here's the thing about it, right? I think going into last year, or I don't know what, I think there were Lions fans who would just say, yes, we believe. I'll buy this. I'll bite on this. Hook, line, and sinker. You want to give me all the optimism, positivity. This is exactly how we want it. There's no team alive that wants to start with this schedule. At Green Bay, home Chicago, at Baltimore, Cleveland, at Cincinnati, at Kansas City. No one on earth wants to start with that schedule, but coaches have to say what they need to say.
Yeah, we'll take Cleveland in there. That one was a breath of fresh
fun at
air.
Kansas City and at Cincinnati and in Green Bay. But although they've won in Green Bay before, here's the thing. I don't know if people are blindly just following Campbell now.
Well,
that's what happens
I think
when
they
you
should
lose these playoff
Why
games.
would they?
You lost these playoff games in a really tough way.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I think you saw faith. And also, you forget about their secret weapon. Their GM is on fire right now. And he had his draft. I know he drafted people that no one had heard of, but it feels like he killed the draft again. I know he got this guy, this Isaac Tesla guy, who was the Arkansas receiver who had no catches, but broke every combine record for athleticism. I think he's going to be a star. Like they are such a good drafting team that they'll find guys. I know what you're saying about the big game stuff, but come on, look at what you're saying, Mag. You're saying the Detroit Lions coach cannot win a big playoff game. Like, this is the Detroit Lions. It's not the Eagles. It's not the Chiefs. It's not the Steelers.
But Paul,
I just think, come on, you have to be excited about this.
Okay.
They are coming out of nowhere. They had a decade of losing teams.
More than that, but I get what you're saying. But like at some point, it's about winning, is it not? And don't you have to get over we're just happy to be here and look at how many games you're winning, what you have, and say we should be in the Super Bowl. And I don't think it's unfair for fans to want that even in a hurry.
But this year, after everything Dan Campbell just said, I don't think you can say that anymore. I don't think you have to say that as now as a Browns fan. It's almost there's less pressure on them. And I think that's maybe what Campbell is trying to do here. Like, all right, now we can just go out there and have fun and use all our young, ridiculously talented players and play the schedule. I mean, gosh, there's so many. We haven't mentioned Sam Laporta. We haven't mentioned Brian Branch. Like they have just been drafting stars and stars. I don't know how they're going to pay them all, but they're drafting star after star after star. So I just think they're exciting. To me, the big problem is there's one massive problem. Like who ends up blowing it in the clutch? It's Jared Goff. Like, is Jared Goff a Super Bowl quarterback? Who fumbled it 5 minutes into the game and gave Washington all their momentum? Jared Goff. So if I have any issue, it's can Jared Goff win the big game? It's not can Dan Campbell.
He played in a Super Bowl.
I'm just saying, like, I think at a certain point, like, they're going to wonder about Jared Goff. Like, he better step up. He really was disappointing in that Commanders game to me.
Yeah,
he
made
had
a
big
big
numbers he put on
commitment.
Yeah, I know. But how many years? Like, was that last year they signed that?
Yep.
So it'll be 2 years in. At a certain point, like, there's going to be so much talent around him. That's who's going to get the expectations. To me, not Dan Campbell.
Who would wear this? A bad season for the Lions, if they have one, by the way. Not saying they're going to. Would it be more on Goff or more on Campbell? It obviously depends more on how Goff plays, but 888-710-4ISN. I'll hit you with another question. Last year, I think it was a no-brainer going into the season, NFC North, best division.
Yeah.
Are you still feeling that way?
Oh, yeah, even more so.
You think so?
Oh, my God. Well, because the Bears have invested so much. I mean, they used a rookie salary cap situation, and they've built a team around Caleb Williams. So now you have 4 solid teams. Now, they're not, maybe not the rest, but what's another division that goes 4 deep?
Well, I think the AFC West does now. So,
oh my God!
Obviously, you got the Chiefs who lost in the Super Bowl. They seem like they're maybe I don't want to say refocused, or whatever. Could be Kelsey's last year. You want to rip off that other Super Bowl. You obviously have the surprise Broncos who made the playoffs last year, and Sean Payton and the Bo Nix combination looks pretty good. You think Jim Harbaugh is not going to be a perennial playoff contender? And you and I disagree on the Raiders. I don't know if the Raiders are a playoff team. I think it's within the realm, though. They're certainly going to be not the doormat that they were the last couple of years.
Why would you say that?
Because they've got Geno Smith. They've got a coach that knows what he's doing now with a lot of experience. They've got Ashton Genty. I mean, there's a lot of things to be excited about.
Right, but I mean, their win total is still, 5.5 or 6.5? It's not. I don't know. I think you're overestimating. I like the Bears more than I like the Raiders at the bottom of the division.
Well, the Bears, I mean, if Caleb Williams ends up hitting, then yeah, the Bears could be,
I also
deep playoff team.
Now, the other thing about the Chargers and the Broncos, that was a bit of a scheduling fluke. The Chargers didn't beat a winning team, right? I think those teams have a lot to prove. And the other thing, it depends. It's a lot that depends. Who do you get out of Kyle? Like I don't have in front of me. Who does the AFC West play? If they play the NFC South, yeah, they're going to have 3 playoffs.
I believe the West plays the NFC East.
Yeah, so that'll even things up because they had 3 playoff teams last year, but a lot of that was schedule. And who's the NFC? If you can find out who's the NFC North play, they have some tough schedules. I know that.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476 if you'd like to weigh in on that. Worried about the Lions.
Well, also, too, I mean, are the Chiefs anymore? The Chiefs chiefing? I don't know.
Well, I mean, just because they lost badly in the Super Bowl, now they're like yesterday's news?
I just feel like
On what planet?
the hype around the Chiefs is not what it was.
NFC North, by the way, is playing the AFC North. A lot of good
okay.
matchups.
Well,
Here's
that's
the thing,
bad.
it couldn't have been any higher for the Chiefs. Like you're asking, like, is the hype still the same? It would have been impossible to maintain that level of hype.
Well, they didn't really fix their offensive line, which was why the main reason they lost the Super Bowl. I feel like the hype is down a little bit.
Well, I mean, yeah, because your Eagles won the Super Bowl.
I mean, who's the favorite in the AFC?
Who is it? The Ravens?
Bills.
Oh, are they the favorite?
I know that makes you so miserable.
Well, I mean, we'll see. 888-710-4ISN. Right? You want to know why that probably exists? Because the AFC West is a lot harder than the AFC East.
Could be. Yeah, it's like the old Tom Brady formula. It's like, oh, okay, just gift you in the divisional round.
It's fun to be on the other side of that after 20 years of being on the bad side of it.
But you do make a good point. AFC West they're both loaded, and AFC North is still the top three teams are pretty good. So they're good divisions, but something about the NFC North, you have Jordan Love, you have the Lions offense, you have Caleb Williams, and then you have this wildly talented Vikings roster with a big question mark at quarterback.
Massive. For the AFC North, though, I want to see if Rodgers signs. Like the Steelers, what's going on there, actually, and when are we ever going to know? George is our pal in L.A. George, what do you think about the Lions? You think they're going to be all right?
Good morning, you guys. I think the Lions will be a second-tier team this year. They might make the playoffs. They might not. Who knows? I'll be honest with you. But I think it's still going to be between the Eagles and Rams as far as who gets up on the top level. And then on the other side, I think your Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl. Just my opinion, but good morning.
George, why would you do that to me in the first week of June?
George, I love you, but your Rams, you're obviously biased. Can we just call this as George the Rams fan?
No, this was an amazing call from George because if it's not snowing, I'm not sure the Rams don't beat your Eagles.
Yeah.
They were right there, man.
Yeah,
that was a great game.
I mean, the Eagles were up 14. Like, the Eagles kind of had them. I felt like the Eagles they went into prevent at the end, right? Like, they were leading the entire game.
Stafford had the ball on his arm.
Yeah, that was a little closer than I wanted it to be. But
now we're remembering.
I think on a dry field, like the Eagles might have turned it on a little more. They got comfortable. It was a weird game. But anyway, and the other thing, too, is like the Rams, we saw the power rankings, like people have the Niners right there. They have not won anything yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Rich is in Cali, has another thought on what could take its toll on some of these top teams. Rich, what do you have, sir?
The fact of the matter is you're talking about an ever-lengthening NFL season. Also a playoff system that literally gets you playing into January. Mm-hmm. At some point, it's going to take a toll someplace. Just ask the 49ers what happened to them.
Yeah.
If you don't make that shot, if you don't get there, your chances of going back are slim and none, and nobody likes slim.
Well, you're right. Not just the 49ers, but the team we're talking about, the Lions. They had 16 guys on IR by the end of the season. Right. I'm backing you up on that claim. And by the way, Rich, thanks for that call and the point.
Yeah.
It's getting worse. Like this 18-game schedule is totally happening. I think you'd have to have a double bye.
Well, you know what? This reminds me a little bit of the NBA. I mean, the NBA, they're calling it the warranty league right now. Whoever stays healthy is going to win the title every year, and OKC has stayed healthy, and they're strong favorites. So that's a great call. Like last year, we saw the Eagles had very minor injuries, and even Brandon Graham even came back for the Super Bowl. So I think, and then you saw the Chiefs get hurt. It is an injury league. Georgia might be right. Oh, sorry, Rich might be right.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, all this confidence with the Bills feels like they're always 3 injuries away.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm just like they're old.
What? Why?
Well, you have Matt Milano still, right? You kept him, didn't you?
Yeah, but he's just one guy. They got a lot younger.
Yeah, we all see what's happening, Maggie.
I know. Did you guys see a little more of the guest list that came out from Josh and Haley's wedding?
No, who's on there?
You guys are total idiots.
Larry David was there. And we found out that it was because his Haley Steinfeld's father is a trainer, and Larry David is one of his best clients, which is hilarious because Larry David doesn't look like he works out.
You say that, but he's very thin. He probably does.
He's like wiry, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he probably does a lot of cardio and like a lot of very lightweight.
Huh. But is that your calling card? Like, it's like, I'm a great trainer. It's like, oh, who are you training? Like Larry David, the guy who's basically synonymous with just like skinny, nerdy guy.
but he's like old and alive and like active. Like I actually think that's a pretty good person to have in your clientele.
You are the best. Stay alive.
He's 77. He looks great.
He does. He's 77?
Yeah.
Wow.
Stay alive.
Has Larry David ever looked great?
He looks better now.
Better
like Larry
now.
David.
Yeah, I think now he looks great. I don't know if I'd say 20 years ago.
What you got against Larry David?
Love Larry David. Love Curve. Love Seinfeld. But I'm just, he's not like the person. If I was a personal trainer, I want
personal.
like Jessica Alba up there or something like that.
Seems personal, Maggie.
I got nothing against Larry. I love him. I appreciate his
Actually,
genius.
Larry came in once for the Dan Patrick show. He's pretty good shape. Like you would say, oh, that guy's in good shape. Like he's totally for 77, really good. I understand what you're saying, but some guys need a trainer to stay like that.
Plot twist: Larry David actually looks like LeBron James underneath his clothes.
He's gonna start doing tonal ads.
Underneath the sports coat and the sweater.
Yeah, Larry's ripped, just swole. It looks like Mitchell Trubisky was there.
Lap pull down.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It looks like Spencer Brown was there, offensive lineman, and Dawson Knox was there.
Yeah, that's I was wondering, like, why those guys, and like, what do you tell the rest of the offense?
This is why I think you're kind of in a tough spot if you're a famous football player getting married. I think you got to invite everybody and just suck it up.
Exactly. I think he did a good job. I think he decided, my friends from work are the ones I'm taking, not just everybody from work.
No Deion Dawkins?
No, Dawkins was there.
Oh,
He's the one who
Dawkins.
leaked out that it was the date on NFL Network.
Well, and Trubisky's a must, right? You have to.
Well, I was actually wondering about Case. Case was
Case
Keenum.
Well, basically, Josh, Case never said anything like this. Like the next year, he got Kyle Allen in there as his backup. Because Kyle Allen, I think, is one of his best friends. So I wonder if he was there.
I bet all the quarterbacks had to be there. I wonder if Ryan
Well, no,
Fitzpatrick
Kyle Allen's
was
on another
there.
team now, though, so he might be.
Oh, at OTAs?
You think EJ Manuel was present?
I don't think they have a relationship.
How about JP Lossman?
Oh, yeah, Kyle Allen's a Lion. I did not even
Let's
know
not
that.
go through the graveyard.
Drew Bledsoe.
There you go.
Drew Bledsoe?
Drew Bledsoe, I'd have on the mic. He's awesome. That roast of Tom Brady, he brought the house down. There's more to Drew Bledsoe than meets the eye.
Drew Bledsoe provided the wine for the wedding, maybe.
I was
That's
gonna
his
say.
jam. He's like a award-winning wine guy. By the way,
Low-key, Drew Bledsoe might be the best hang in the NFL. He's got the wine connection, and he's funny.
so sorry, the third string is Mike White. Did he get an invite?
I don't know.
And then the
Didn't
fourth
see it.
string is
Mike
Shane
Bleepin'
Buechele. Shane Buechele is also in camp. Like, do you have to invite all the quarterbacks? Like, what happens when you come in Monday morning and Mike White's like, dude, how was the wedding?
He's a new teammate. He'll be fine.
It'd be funny if Mike White's like, so what'd you do this weekend?
He's been a division rival.
Passive-aggressive.
He's been the division rival for most of his career, right?
That's true.
He's literally been on every team in the division except for the Patriots.
And my Shane Buechele fact that I love putting out there.
What's that?
He was in the quarterback room with Cam Rising in 2018 at University of Texas.
Yeah, that is Perloff's Clayton Kershaw and the other guy.
I love it.
Together.
I love it. And Ellinger, there was Shane Buechele 1, Ellinger 2, Cam Rising 3, and Cam Rising should still be in college, but he medically retired.
Wait, Matt Stafford and Clayton Kershaw know each other?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Nickel
Alexander
Walker were cousins?
I had no idea.
Wow.
We'll learn again.
Do you know where Ryan Fitzpatrick went to college?
Dartmouth.
Did
you know? Did you know? Peyton, Eli, Cooper, and Danny Manning are all related?
Yeah.
888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. This conversation started with the Lions.
That's
We're
right.
asking you, too many obstacles for them to overcome. They're starting to stack up.
They'll never see it coming.
This one we would see coming, Coach.
Perfect.
God, I love this team, though. Man, I like the expectations down a little bit. I'm an Eagles fan, number one, but I think the Lions are my new number 2 team.
Welcome to Applebee's.
Dan Campbell's. How dare you say anything bad about our guy, Dan Campbell?
Coming up.
Eat some kneecaps, guys. What are we doing here?
Coming up, we've been promised a crazy NBA offseason, so who would we be most shocked if they got traded?
Mm-hmm.
Give you a little NBA offseason wild cards next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. So glad to have you on this Tuesday. A couple things for you. Number one, we've been talking about the Detroit Lions and whether or not there are just too many obstacles that are building up. This is off of the news that their center, Frank Ragnow, retired yesterday. But then you look a little closer. They had 16 guys on IR last year, so lots of dudes coming back from a variety of injuries. You've got 2 new coordinators that you're trying to work in. You have the 3rd hardest schedule in the NFL. You are coming off of 2 devastating playoff losses that have maybe built some scar tissue where I don't know if the trust is there in Dan Campbell as it was a year ago. So perfect. Questions for you at 888-710-4ISN. Quick programming note, top of the hour. The Mount Olympus Maggie Perloff continues. The 4 sports gods from every great sports city in this country. Today, it's our friends in Oregon, Pearl. Portland, Eugene, Corvallis.
Well, I thought it was
the area.
Wait.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I know we talked about this on the show yesterday. I think we could be liberal with Portland. I think we decide there are no rules on the Maggie and Perloff Mount Olympus. So, but if we're competing who has a better Mount Olympus, I am going to bring up geography. If you get too far away from Portland, I'm going to be like, this small town in Oregon is 4 hours away from Portland.
Nate Arts or whatever on the coast. Here's the thing. We just didn't want it to be like a Blazers sports gods. That would be that's a different bit, you know?
You don't want
Roy,
that.
Greg Oden, all the good ones.
You don't want that.
I don't want that.
I'd say someone here might go all Blazers.
Oh, all right. Maybe someone's going all Blazers.
I actually saw a clip the other day of Rasheed Wallace getting kicked out of a game.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah, it was right.
The referee was mic'd up.
So then Steve Smith and Scottie Pippen go to defend him. I'm like, who else is on this team? This is like an all-star team.
I think Sabonis was on that team.
Yeah, that team was crazy. And I guess I talked to some friends in Portland, like, they couldn't get past the Kings of all.
Yeah.
The Kings and the Lakers caused them all the problem. But like, oh my God, this is like a dream team.
That 2000 team was ridiculous. They almost beat the Lakers. They almost didn't. The Laker dynasty almost didn't begin in 2000 because the Blazers took them to 7, and it was a comeback in the fourth quarter.
Was that, and also too, there was definitely right. They didn't score at all in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they just. I mean, it was like
there was some
Knicks
wonky
choke.
officiating in that series too. I remember that very well. I was dating a girl from Davis, California at the time, and the Kings were.
I know your exes have made a lot of appearances here.
I actually
Tuesday.
went to that Arco Arena twice.
Yeah, you got exes in.
I went to that Arco Arena twice. It was awesome.
Got exes
in Sacramento.
Yeah, it was so cool. They have a new arena, right?
Yes, that would be Golden One Center.
Yeah, the old one was ridiculous. It looked like a massive high school gym, and everyone was screaming their head off.
The cowbells?
I think the last name of that arena was Sleep Train Arena.
Jesus.
Wow, they really changed it from Arco? That sucked.
Well, actually, what was the original name of that? Did it ever have like a normal name?
The Cow Palace.
Yeah,
Was it originally called the Cow Palace?
I think so.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
Well, that's also because Phil Jackson called it Cowtown, right? Didn't he took a shot at Sacramento saying it was like cow pastures, and then they internalized it and said, "Yeah, well, then we're going to bring cowbells." It was awesome.
Former names: Arco Arena, Power Balance Pavilion, and Sleep Train Arena.
Okay,
Sleep Train's a funny one. Sorry, folks.
No, the Cow Palace is something though, isn't it?
That's in the Bay Area. Yeah,
okay.
I was like, actually, when you said that, that's a long time arena, but it's somewhere else, I think.
So something crossed my mind. Sometimes when you're driving on the highway and then you just get like a random thought that pops in your head. Mm-hmm. This one popped in my head the other day. Now that we're talking about the Kings, I feel like this is the perfect time to bring this up.
Hopefully it was to stay in your lane.
I mean, I got home.
Okay.
Whatever happened to the Maloofs?
Oh, I was just thinking that. Literally, as we were talking, that's what I was thinking about.
What happened to them? They were the owners of the Kings.
Kind of scammers, right?
Were they? They owned the Palms Casino in
they were what?
In Vegas.
Scammers? Like, when I say scammers, I mean like as NBA owners. Like they kind of sucked at the end. Like they were really good in the beginning, and then they started like doing this like Pittsburgh Pirates stuff, and then they eventually sold the team.
The sister was on Real Housewives. I remember that, and they owned the Palms.
Yeah, that's where the Real World Suite is, right?
There was a time when the Maloofs were like on my TV a lot.
They were a massive thing.
Well, and now they're just gone?
No, they sold the team.
No, I know they sold the team, but I don't hear of them anymore either. Just like being casino owners or, Mark Cuban sold his team. I still hear about them.
Yeah, I mean,
they disappeared
into
thin
last
air.
year, though. Right?
Because remember, they almost sold the team to be moved. That was their issue. I knew there was something with them. They were trying to sell the team, and they almost sold it to Steve Ballmer, who would have moved the team to Seattle. I'm reading on Wikipedia, which we know that's right.
Yeah, right.
But that's apparently, I remember they were very beloved in Sacramento until they weren't, and there was a whole issue with the arena, which obviously we see, now as a new arena. But yeah, that was crazy because during that early 2000s, like they were very front and center,
totally
sitting courtside. Yeah. They were getting a lot of credit for the Kings' revitalization, and then things got bad and they just disappeared.
And it's like the Vegas part of it too.
Yeah,
they were like party people.
Yeah, exactly.
They would love the new Vegas team. God, they would have been all over that. They would have moved the Kings to Vegas in a heartbeat.
But are they around? don't know. Anyway, this is what I thought driving home the other day. Whatever happened to the Maloofs? Andrew Bogusch is here with the latest headlines for us. A little more up to date than trying to locate and former NBA owner.
Yeah, you guys do that while I say that the Detroit Tigers, as we all expected, are the first team to 40 wins this season. They got there with ease last night in Chicago.
The 2-0 fly ball right center field. Deep. Roberts back at the fence looking up. He leaps and it's gone, a home run. 3-homer night for Kerry Carpenter.
That's Dan Dickerson on Tigers Radio. Kerry Carpenter's swings fueling a 13-1 rout of the White Sox.
Damn.
Improving Detroit to 40-21. They're talented and they're lucky. This game also featuring catcher Dylan Dingler sliding to catch a foul pop, only to deflect the ball right into the mitt of an unexpected third baseman, Zach McKinstry.
I mean, they do birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, and anniversaries, too. The Dingler-McKinstry juggling team. Book today.
I love Jason Benetti.
Jason Benetti.
Any relation with Zach McKinstry? And Kool-Aid McKinstry?
I don't think so. The Mets in NL
I just
Best.
like saying Kool-Aid McKinstry, by the way.
Hell of a name. Hell of a name.
The Mets are in NL Best 38-23 after a 4-3 win in 10 at Dodger Stadium.
Guy paid $700. I was betting $250.
Edwin Diaz blew his first save of the season, allowing Shohei Ohtani's tying sac fly bottom 9.
Oh, my mic was
but
on.
got the win after Francisco Alvarez and Francisco Lindor drove in runs in the 10th. The Padres got a 1-0 win in 10 in San Francisco on a Jose Iglesias sac fly. And those terrible Rockies got win number 10, 6-4 in Miami. Now, far from all of that, Houston police say a man from overseas has admitted to drunkenly threatening Astros pitcher Lance McCullers on social media after a bad start last month. The team hired private security for the family because of these threats. Charges could be filed.
That's amazing. Great job.
Yikes.
What overseas? Like any?
That's
no.
all they're telling us.
Okay.
I'm so happy that this happened. Not happy that it happened to Lance, but happy that they found this clown, alleged clown. Like, this is what needs to happen.
He must have been. I feel like the threshold for this, unfortunately, has to be so high because there's so much garbage on the internet and threats and keyboard warriors and stuff like that. But I can't imagine. It must have been horrific what he was saying if the police are getting involved.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I guess the part of why McCullers went public with this is because when it happened, his daughter overheard him and his wife talking about it, and then she got super scared.
Oh,
because she's like 5 or 6, so she thought people were like going to come to their house and hurt them.
Oh God.
So it became a big. That's why it became a big deal.
Not ideal. As a father, I would. That was probably a mistake. I'm sure Lance McCullers would admit that.
Oh, like
yeah.
Talking about it in front of the kids.
Yeah,
Maybe they
I'm
didn't
sure
know.
I'm sure that was a mistake.
I think they thought they were
alone.
Yeah.
Sure.
Man, it stinks when you make those mistakes. You're like be talking about something with your spouse about the kid, and then they come around the corner. They're like, "What's going on tomorrow?" It's like, nothing. You're definitely not getting shots tomorrow at the doctor.
This is every day in my house. Like my wife and I are in one room, and like my daughter will just is in another, and kind of hear someone. What do you guys say? And we're like, if we wanted you to know, we would include you in this conversation.
Perloff had to leave his apartment yesterday because of this.
My daughter can't stand to hear us talk logistics, which is all we talk. But also, my kids and everyone in my household has bionic hearing when their name is mentioned, but cannot hear a single other thing. Like, I could walk up with a bullhorn to my 14-year-old daughter and start screaming, and she will not look up because she's got her earbuds in. But if I mentioned, she could have studied a little harder for that geography test, she'll be 9 rooms away and be like, I heard that. Like, you heard that? You haven't listened to me in 2 years.
Selective healing,
Yes, that is the thing. Do you guys all have that in your household?
Yeah, if you're a kid, you all have that. Yeah. I had that with my parents.
What'd you say?
Like, I heard that, and I hate you. No, I'm just kidding. She would never
You
say
tried
that.
to place Florida on a map with no outlines.
I'm just kidding. Of course she doesn't have geography class. Americans don't know anything about geography.
And we prove that on the show almost daily.
I didn't have geography till college, and I barely passed that class.
The Atlanta Falcons said yesterday that tight end Kyle Pitts is not on the field at OTAs for an undisclosed injury, but otherwise...
He's been here. He's done such a great job of all stuff that we've asked him. He's been in every single meeting. He's been in every single
thing that we've done other than the field.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been absolutely outstanding to be around and all this type of that area. But we're going to be extremely cautious in him.
Can I translate that, by the way?
Please.
Anybody want to give us a 4th-round pick for Kyle Pitts? He is here. Please, if you want to take Kirk Cousins' contract, we'll give you that, too.
I love it. It's like he's everywhere except for the most important place he needs to be, which is on the field.
He's
in the cafeteria.
He's doing
meeting
such
rooms.
a great job, man. He's explosive as ever. Give me a 4th-rounder, please. That guy, by the way, he's a Philly native, so I support him. Is there a more disappointing player than Kyle Pitts?
I mean, I kind of want to say he was awesome at Florida, but is there a little buyer beware? You take a tight end 4th overall.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a tight end. Remember,
He was like a hybrid.
Right.
I mean, Brock Bowers at 13 was great. So, I mean, I've never seen a tight end prospect like that. You're right. He looked like Calvin Johnson, but...
And let's not forget Shallow.
But also, too, Arthur Smith kept drafting these amazing offensive players who did nothing because of Arthur Smith. Anyway, he's there, Bogues, and apparently he's doing everything right.
Something tells me he may be okay at his 2nd spot.
He could be one of those guys.
Change of scenery.
Yeah, like he may never be like an all-pro guy, but like maybe he goes somewhere else and he's actually pretty productive.
Future Jet Kyle Pitts.
Tight end is all
been
system. There's so many teams that don't use their tight end. Like the tight end, like you just got to go to the right team and get targets.
You know who kind of he reminds me of? Like this guy didn't change teams, but like he changed coaches. Like Vernon Davis was terrible early in his career, and then like Jim Harbaugh came around, and all of a sudden he was a really good tight end.
Absolutely.
And like he has similar tools, similar size, similar frame. Like maybe like a different coach or a different place. Maybe you get that out of him.
How about my buddy Darren Waller, 6'6", just like Kyle Pitts, speed. Just got to the right system and somebody gave him a chance. So, but then again, Kyle Pitts has really been disappointing. It's the 4 pick. You're right. And by the way, did we know when that happened that you were supposed to take a tight end that high? I feel like that's a new trend.
No, you knew. But he was going to be so different, right? That's what you guys were saying, the hybrid. Yeah. But yeah, it was the tight ends were not getting taken 4th, but people thought he was the next Gronk or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkinson went 8.
Eric Ebron
Went 8. Oh, God, did I love that guy.
Same.
Until he actually got to the NFL.
There it is.
Exactly. He had 1,000 yards his rookie year.
His rookie year was fine.
And then just
I had him on my fantasy team.
You know who also looks awesome, but then something always goes wrong? Our guy, Evan Ingram. Like 6'4", runs like lightning, and just never. He actually had a good year, though.
Don't get me started on that guy. That guy stunk for the Giants. Then he went to Jacksonville, and all of a sudden he was halfway decent. I hate football.
You hate all sports.
I hate everything.
This is true.
I'm miserable. I love my life.
Well, on that note,
please take it away.
Let's get to NBA offseason.
Baby Maggie.
Great basketball.
Well, this is
just turn the knife now, Maggie.
When we
Maggie.
When we hired Manny to be the wacky neighbor of the show,
we didn't know he had
realize
severe clinical depression. That was not part of it.
You hid from us the fact that you were slightly depressed.
Already hard.
but
he's
we're here to support you no matter what.
He has actually turned the page from this. He's wearing a Penn State sweatshirt today. He's into Penn State football.
They never let you down.
Oh, yeah.
Just skipped over the Yankees, by the way.
Can't even talk.
I know that cackle from Manny's starting to feel a little Heath Ledger from the Joker.
Hell of a performance.
Yeah.
You know what he is? An entertainer, just like your boy.
I know. That used to be like a little more lighthearted of a cackle, but now I'm starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, when we asked people about Manny, they were like, well, he knows a lot of different stadium names. Mm-hmm. He's really into his teams, and he's severely depressed. I'm like, yes, let's get him.
It's like seasonal depression. It's like winter. It's like, no, football. And basketball. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476.
Christmas season is okay.
All right. We will get to the biggest name we think is going to get traded. Don't worry. We know Giannis, all the obvious ones. We've got NBA wild cards for you. Who could be on the move next?
I Frenched that thing like I was in Paris.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Get back to the NFL in just a moment. Top of the hour, the Mount Olympus project continues. Today we are doing the 4 sports gods from the state of Oregon, city of Portland, and surrounding areas.
Wait. I already know who you picked now.
Starts with Portland and expands in concentric circles outside of Portland.
Well, this is unfair. I'm calling foul.
Right into Vancouver.
Because we had this discussion yesterday, and we said, I guess maybe you can include Eugene. And now you've already set this up as the state of Oregon. You just said the state of Oregon.
I'm saying sports figures from Oregon. Listen, you guys put Joe Louis on Detroit when we said teams, athletes. Now the floodgates are open. It's going to be the Wild West.
So when we get to Philadelphia, can I do Penn State because it's 3.5 hours away?
Definitely not.
Throw Kenny Pickett in there. Why don't you?
I got a couple.
Okay, from South Jersey?
I got a
South
couple
Jersey Eagles legend.
Athletes from Bend, Oregon that I can't wait to tell you about. No, we will do that at the top of the hour. Meanwhile, we were promised this amazing NBA offseason, Perloff, and we all know that Giannis Antetokounmpo is someone who has said he's, kind of exploring life outside of Milwaukee, which is a bummer for the
Giannis Antetokounmpo
for the Bucks fans, but that's kind of the obvious guy.
But by the way, not a done deal either.
No.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Give me somebody who you think no one's really talking about, who you think could be part of this blockbuster summer.
Well, okay. People here are talking about it, but can we mention Karl Anthony Towns? Because I've seen his name a lot, and I never thought that Cat would be on the move. He just got here to New York.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm just shocked. I saw a lot of rumors. Would the Bucks take Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis Antetokounmpo? And to me, he's been here 1 year. All of a sudden, Cat's going to be on his 3rd team in 3 years. That struck me as I was surprised, to be honest. And now it feels like there's a lot of whispers around there that they're very dissatisfied. Did that surprise you, or did you see this coming?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm not surprised because I think that not that there was a buildup, but it was obvious to me, and I even said it last week, or implied it, that I think fans were ready to pile on Karl Anthony Towns.
Karl Anthony Towns, baby, yes.
Which he doesn't have the love that the fan base has for Brunson. He's not part of the Nova Knicks. He had this reputation of playing soft in the playoffs, which, to be fair, I think he kind of shed for a while and actually did play well in the playoffs, but his defense got completely exposed. And I don't think Thibodeau's going anywhere.
That's how they got him. All this was known. Why do you think he was available to the Knicks? Do you think he was all of a sudden Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and they got him? And of course, why do you think they were able to give Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo? That's exactly the reasons that Cat was available out of Minnesota. Otherwise, he'd be in Minnesota right now.
Well, he is all-star, great shooting big man who's a former number 1 overall pick. So he's going to come with expectations. I don't know. EJ, do you expect Karl Anthony Towns to get traded or no?
I don't. I think that there isn't really a player that makes sense for the Knicks to trade him for. I don't think you're trading him for Kevin Durant.
That's the big one, right?
Yeah, and I just don't think they're going to make that move unless they were so worried about Cat's contract, which is pretty bloated. I don't think you do that. And I think Giannis is the only player you would trade him for. I'm just not convinced that someone else won't have a better offer than the Knicks. So who are you trading him for? You're not going to pare down the team. The team needs his offense. So I think he stays.
I mean, if there was a Giannis move, you make it a million times.
No, yeah, but I don't think that's. I don't
think it's there.
Yeah, I don't think it have to involve a three-team trade probably, and they'd have to gut their rotation. I don't think they're going to do that.
Knicks just don't have the assets. Simply.
Yeah, he said they gave up so many picks for Bridges. Mikal Bridges. That's what really hurt them in this effort.
The stuff that you gave away Dante as well too. That's a very good piece. You gave that away to the Timberwolves. I mean,
yeah, and obviously
they're just gutted.
The bench was hurt. The bench was not utilized properly, and then maybe they need some more bench help. Can I give you guys somebody who? I'm sorry. I know what I hear and read, but I'm going to keep this alive a little bit. They say all the right things in Arizona, but do we think that Devin Booker is not? I'm not saying he's untouchable, and he says all the right things. And I know he's part of the coaching search now, and they're saying he's going to have input on who the next guy is. How many coaches have gone through Phoenix? I mean, in some ways, I almost want to say, put this guy out of his misery. I know they went to the finals, and it's devastating to lose there, and they've tried to build these super teams in all the wrong ways. I don't trust anybody with the Phoenix Suns.
He should probably want to get out of there.
Yeah, I was about to say, you know who likes this thing? Devin Booker.
But he's not using his He's not flexing that muscle. If he wanted to get out, he could get out.
I thought the Knicks should have made a move for Devin Booker about
Feels
2
like
years
there's
ago.
a lot of smoke around Devin Booker right now.
And all the smoke is that he's going to stay and sign this 2-year extension and this, that, and the other. I mean, he's a needle mover.
How about, by the way, sorry, one more, Donovan Mitchell. That's the one I'm very curious about. Who feels like very Devin Booker-ish, by the way.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Coming up, the 4 sports gods from the city of Portland and beyond. It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Remember Bubba Brazel, I grew out of wrestling.
Daily was waiting by that glowing screen, hoping night shift crown would go to the king. Ship held it down night after night, with fire in his voice and truth in his mic. But the news came in like a cold hard slap. Pat Boyle's got it, felt like a trap. No shade on the kid, but let's be real, Shepard earned a late night deal. Now Shepard ain't sleeping and Daly's in tears. The Shepard maniac's been loyal for years. We stayed up late, we rode every wave, but they gave it to Pat and dug Ship's grave. So we howled at the moon and cursed at the sky, asking one question: why, oh why, oh why? Meanwhile, Bilotti still don't show up for work. No call, no text, just gone with a smirk. Yet Ship clocked in through the thick and the thin. Rain or shine, he'd always check in. Infinity, you broke our trust. We wanted Shep and that's a must. You picked a Boyle, but we needed flame. Now the overnights just won't be the same. Yeah, Shep ain't sleeping, we're twisted with rage. You skipped the vet for the new kid on stage. From the Bronx to the burbs, we're standing tall. Shep a maniacs answer every call. So crank up the static, let the record show. There's only one man for that late night blow. Pat's got the slot, but it don't feel right, 'cause Shep ain't sleeping, not tonight. That ain't sleeping. It's Wednesday. Still ghosting.
On the mound,
When Nerdy King Perloff made a big old bed, said if I lose I'll go pay my debt. Texas bound, he claimed real loud, but that old Ford still parked and proud. Kevin LaMelle's got brisket on the grill, Victor Wimmy's dunking just for thrills, and he's back home, dodging that drive, talking about stats on a hard 9 to 5. He ain't never going down to San Antone. Talk the talk, now he won't pick up the phone. Said Wimby was a bust, now he's got the crown. Rookie of the year while Perloff's in town. Big words, no righteous microphone moans. He ain't never going down to San Antone. And then there's Bilotti, oh bless his soul. WrestleMania hits, he crawls in a hole. No emails, no text, no I'll be late. Just a folding chair and a Ric Flair cake. Monday.
$30 remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
We'll get back to the Browns quarterback battle in just a moment, but Mount Olympus waits for nobody. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Today, we focus our attention on the four sports gods from what started as the city of Portland and now has controversially been expanded to outside areas. Good morning, Perloff. How you doing?
I'm very good. Very excited for this one.
Yeah, we are, because we found this new connection with the city of Portland ever since we started doing the show. And we're so proud to be on in Portland and have a great fan base in Portland. The cities that we've already done as far as finding the four sports gods in every great sports city. We've done New York, we've done Detroit, Cleveland. Yesterday was Dallas, and today is Portland. And so today is one of the, for the first time, it's a little bit one of our smaller markets. It doesn't have the four major sports.
Yep.
But when I tell you this was one of the hardest so far.
Oh, I know. I definitely had 6 guys I really wanted to put on there, and you have to cut to 4.
Got to cut to 4, the four sports gods. Manny, hit the music.
It's time to feast your ears on Maggie and Perloff's Mount Olympus.
All right, bro, I'm going first today.
Yep, hit it.
By the way, according to Bogish, I've been losing these Mount Olympus debates.
According to Twitter polls as well.
Well, what do they know?
You made one. You made one against the grain pick, and it's been burning you.
Yeah, because I went with Steve Eiserman over Gordie Howe, and I'm getting punished for it for the end of time.
Yeah, no, that's the one. That's the one that people keep coming back to, Mag.
And that's how I lost my credibility. Anyway.
No, I don't know how you lost New York. But no, I mean, no, seriously, you had just as good a one as me. I'm not sure you lost that one.
Yeah.
I did beat you, Detroit, though. I beat you pretty good on that one.
All right. Four sports gods: Portland, Oregon, and surrounding areas. Number one to me is. Well, all of these are obvious, but first I'm going to go with Clyde Drexler. Drexler, who, when I think of Portland, he is the guy. And I think of Blazers, that's who I think of as Clyde.
Wait, he played in Portland before the Rockets? I'm just kidding, of course.
12 seasons in Portland, obviously the Hall of Famer. And, obviously, very infamously, they passed on Michael Jordan because they already had Clyde Drexler. And by the way, you understood it. That's how good Clyde Drexler was and is part of the Dream Team and all of that. Clyde Drexler is certainly a sports god in the city of Portland. I will also give you Gary Payton, another basketball star, Perloff, but this one going back to college. Oregon State, Corvallis. He is a sports god in Oregon, Portland, outside surrounding cities. Gary Payton going to Oregon State and becoming a first round, not just the first round, but the second overall pick in the draft. The glove, 4 seasons there. I mean, he was incredible. His senior year, averaging 28 points per game. Gary Payton will and forever be a god, probably in Seattle, but certainly in the state of Oregon. I'll continue.
Oh, boy.
Sports gods in Portland and surrounding areas. This one, I don't care what he did in the NFL or what he's doing in the NFL. Marcus Mariota is a sports god. You want to know why? First Oregon Duck to ever win the Heisman.
Love it. Was he really? Wow.
Yes, he was. And by the way, the Hawaii University of Oregon connection, which is long, strong, robust, the fact that he is the one who won the Heisman, Marcus Mariota will forever be a sports god, as opposed to the Justin Herberts and Dan Fouts. And I know those guys are having obviously Fouts had a way better NFL career, but Mariota for winning the Heisman, something Joey Harrington could not do. Mariota, sports god in Oregon. And finally, this is a sports figure who is a god. His name is Phil Knight. From Portland, went to Oregon, and the man behind the machine. One of the greatest entrepreneurs that the world has ever seen. And everyone aligns him with Oregon. You cannot have the type of program at the University of Oregon without Phil Knight. And it extends so much beyond that. So my 4 sports gods from Portland/Oregon: Clyde Drexler, Phil Knight, Marcus Mariota, and Gary Payton. Take that.
All right. You went a little against the grain again. I almost won Phil Knight too, by the way. That was a good one.
Phil Knight has to be on this.
But I'll tell you, the first person, and I might try and cheat this a little bit, because without my first sports god, there is no Phil Knight. And that is Steve Prefontaine.
Yeah, I saw that, but I went with the Nike founder over Prefontaine.
So, as we all know, Phil Knight basically got his start because of his connection to Bill Bowerman, who was Steve Prefontaine's coach at University of Oregon. And we're talking about sports god. He's a god. I mean, he is. If you go to Eugene, it's just, his presence is still there. Died. So he was, of course, a college champion who never really got his chance to excel in the Olympics because he died in an automobile crash at 24. Long distance runner. 2 movies about him, one starring Jared Leto, one starring Billy Crudup. This incredible personality and an icon, and all you have to say is Pre, and everyone knows. So I actually want to cheat and put Prefontaine, Phil Knight, and Bill Bowerman together, because Bill Bowerman, easily, the Oregon track coach, could have made this. So I actually wanted to put a slot there for acknowledging the track thing. And of course, you have a good argument with Phil Knight because he is closer to Portland. Pre never lived in Portland. He lived in Eugene. And he's from a town called Coos Bay, which I actually Googled it, 4 hours away.
Yep, I looked it up too.
So, yeah, I know. We were definitely on the same track. But then I went more chalk with the Blazers. Obviously, I had Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
Then I can't believe you didn't have Damian Lillard. Like, Damian Lillard is just the definition of a sports god in Portland.
Couldn't get to a finals.
Incredibly popular. Yeah, but I still, as far as, I think I'm doing popularity on this one. And excellent player. I can't imagine there's going to be a guy who's going to knock him out of this, because he's an iconic Blazer. Stayed there for a long time. I think 7-time All-Star, just an incredible player and an incredible representative for the city, too. I think he always did things the right way, and I think people really appreciated him. So my 4th sports god, and I was told I talked to a bunch of Portland people.
He brought in ringers here.
I brought in ringers. Chris Bolton, who used to be at Adidas and now runs marketing for Panini, or is it at Panini, gave me his list, and he actually agreed with you that Phil Knight would be a good one.
What are we, phoning a friend here? It's supposed to be your Mount Olympus,
but he
not
said,
Chris's Mount Olympus.
Not Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yes, but he did like my list. And this is one, apparently, he's not as popular as these other guys, but I had to put Bill Walton on there because of the 1977 NBA
Thank you,
championship.
Greg Gumbel. Thank you, Bill Paley. Thank you, Edward R. Murrow. Yeah.
I got to tell you, if you're a basketball fan and you've never watched a highlight of that 1977 NBA Finals, go back and watch Bill Walton and Dr. J, and you will be shocked. Those guys could be superstars in today's game. Right. It was prime Dr. J, so much better than late Dr. J. And Bill Walton was the most, I've never seen a big man who moved like that and could pass like that. It was, because we know him as his silly, I mean, may he rest in peace, this sort of funny broadcaster. His skill level was insane. Injuries cut short his career, but I thought he deserved a spot here. So those are my top 4. I did look at Phil Knight, definitely deserves recognition too. Now, Gary Payton, that's my problem.
I think that Corvallis and Oregon State has to be represented here. Now, it's funny, when I texted these to EJ, if you see it, EJ, I actually edited my text because I did have Bill Walton first. I took him off and I put Gary Payton there. And here's the reason why I took Bill Walton off. Number one, he only played for the Blazers for 4 seasons, even though he won a title in one of those 4 seasons. But that's it. 4 years. That's all. to be a sports god. And I think his relationship with the city of Portland was actually, and I know this just from watching that recent documentary that came out about Bill Walton. They've patched things up since because it's, so long ago. But I thought he said that the relationship between him and the city of Portland wasn't always awesome.
No, it's absolutely
the hippie
true.
lifestyle. He was on an all-water diet. I mean, I'm not saying that Bill Walton didn't contribute to people looking at him with a raised eyebrow and some of the things he was experimenting with back in the 70s. Even for a city as liberal as Portland, I think people were wondering, so the guy doesn't eat any food? How's he going to play basketball? Anyway, he did lead them to a title, but I thought because he was only there for 4 years and because he said there was a contentious, at times, relationship with the city.
But how can you put Gary Payton on Portland? He's the god in Seattle, and they're massive rivals of cities. That's my problem. You
want to know why?
It's the Seattle aspect that's bothering me about it.
Well, that's fine. And we're going to do Seattle at some point. But here's the deal. The reason why I put Gary Payton on is because I think when you actually live in Portland, which unfortunately I've never lived in, but I have a lot of family there. And
Seattle.
I hope I live in Portland one day. It'd be an honor. I think people really sometimes forget Oregon State and Corvallis. And I think if you live there, you are not. The Civil War is one of the great all-time rivalries that got butchered because of greed and just the awfulness of college football. And I think that Oregon State is a way bigger deal if you actually live in Portland or are there. It's closer than Eugene. And I think that I wanted them to be represented. So it was between Jaquiz Rogers and Gary Payton, and I went with Gary.
Gary Payton, he was a great player, too, but it's not like they won a title or anything.
They did, but they went to the NCAA tournament 3 out of his 4 years there. When's Oregon State going to the tournament?
I mean, that is your bar. I actually have some local heroes, too, that were mentioned. But definitely, Terry Porter apparently is a big deal.
Terry Porter, I wanted to put in. So when I was a production assistant, one step up basically as an intern at NBA Entertainment, he used to come in and he had such a presence about him.
What about now? If you want to go old school, you could have put Dan Fouts on over Mariota.
I thought about Fouts too, but then I went back to Fouts's. Fouts. Why I put Mariota on because he won the Heisman. It was the first ever Oregon football player to win the Heisman. Fouts obviously went on to the way better pro career than Mariota.
But I think Fouts was a stud at Oregon, though.
He was. Threw a lot of picks.
Yeah.
I have to go back through his blogs, game logs.
Yeah. No, that's good. As you want to do people from Oregon, then you get, that's a killer. Because Kevin Love is famously from Oregon. He's a great player. Who else? Who's the one I love? Tanya Harding from Portland's finest. Could have put her on there.
Can she be a god? She's the anti. Remember we did Sports Hades?
Yeah, but she was also. Do we forget she was an outstanding skater too? She was a superstar.
That's not the Tanya Harding.
Yeah, somebody
story.
asked Nancy Kerrigan what she thinks about Tanya Harding.
That's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. Anyway, they're. But I think I'm a little jealous of your film night. I actually think I should have maybe put Phil over Pre, but Pre's a big deal.
He is. Phil Knight, though, as far as sports figures in Portland, it doesn't get any bigger. He's one of the biggest sports figures in the world, let alone Oregon.
Sports figures, right, but he never, he's maybe arguably not there if it's not for Bowerman and Prefontaine. And he's not an athlete. He's not even a coach.
That's okay. I put George Steinbrenner on.
Yeah, I mean.
My New York one, because he fit.
I can't believe you guys omitted Adley Rutschman, Oregon State legend. He tackled Christian McCaffrey once on a kickoff as a freshman. The guy plays baseball.
Oh, no way. That's pretty fun. I mean, if we're talking about Oregon players.
Wait, yada that.
I would definitely put my guy Dennis Dixon on there. If you wanted to go Oregon.
Anthony Thomas.
There's a lot.
Sabrina Ionescu.
Thought about her.
You know who's a big deal there, too? Apparently, Ndamukong Suh was a big deal. People still talk about him. He's from Portland, I guess. I actually didn't even know. I think about him as Nebraska. But, yeah, Portland's awesome. Also, Portland is a indie rock hotbed, which bands you guys have never heard of because they were at their peak before you were born.
Probably. Well, Michael James. I mean, there's a lot to choose from.
Genre was at its peak when before I was born.
Who did?
The genre itself was at its peak.
I know. By the way, they could be around now and you would have heard of them either. If we want to do if you want to do Portland, then we could talk about the Decemberists and all these.
The who?
Slater Kinney. No, nothing.
You might as well be speaking Japanese.
Modest Mouse.
Oh,
I've heard Modest Mouse.
Bill Walton. Familiar with his work.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. There you go. The Mount Olympus from the Portland area.
Impressed that he knows who Bill Walton is. as an announcer.
He's this guy.
Thank you, Greg Gumbel. Thank you, Bill Paley. Thank you, Edward R. Murrow. Yeah.
Rest in peace, legend.
I know. That was great. That was our thrill of our lifetime when you ever get to interview Bill Walton.
And you didn't put him on the Mount Olympus, Maggie.
But I gotta
4
be.
years, EJ.
How dare
He
you?
won a championship.
I gotta be honest.
4 years in Portland.
Here's where they're going to run into trouble. I think Gary Payton's going to make the Seattle Mount Olympus.
He could be on two.
Definitely.
He's a Hall of
Gary
Fame
Payton
player.
is not good enough to be on 2 Mount Olympuses. We were
How
debating
dare
whether
you.
LeBron James is going to make 2. Are you going to put him on Miami because he got a ring there too?
How dare you? A little late in the career for that one. I mean, spot the lie.
I'm not disrespecting the glove. He talks a lot of trash.
Yes.
He'll say something that'll make me cry in like 2 seconds.
He was an arch rival of the city of Portland once he got to the pros. That's again, it's a logistical thing. It's not. I'm not saying anything bad about Gary Payton. I just think your logic and the fit for your Olympus is unfair.
And I think you're disrespecting the entire city of Corvallis. And I'd like to hear from all of them right now. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. So we are on in Portland. We've had a great relationship with Portland ever since we started the show. So we would never, ever disrespect Portland or Oregon. How'd we do on our Mount Olympus? Let us know. Coming up, okay, we've got to get to the most confusing thing I heard yesterday. It came from Charles Barkley. I got more questions now than ever.
He's an idiot and a fool.
I just don't know what's going on, and I wish someone would clarify it for all of us sports fans. Get to that next.
I'm going to hell.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The foundational background that has given me the life that I have, and now to be on your show. Wow. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Maggie and Andrew, CBS Sports Radio. Yeah, where dreams become reality, where we come to grow, and where the deal goes down. Thank you, Greg Gumbel. Thank you, Bill Paley. Thank you, Edward R. Murrow. Yeah.
It's gonna be a good day with Maggie and Perloff.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Of course, that was the great Bill Walton comparing us to the greatest journalists of all time. Apt. But the reason we're talking about Bill Walton, we're doing our Mount Olympus, 4 sports gods from every major city. Today is Portland. I put Bill Walton on mine. Maggie did not, but I have a feeling that is not going to be the lightning rod of this round of the Mount Olympus.
No, I can tell people are already upset by the fact that I put Gary Payton on my Mount Olympus because of his standout basketball career at Oregon State. Cover of Sports Illustrated, consensus All-American, multiple 30-point games. Didn't have the tournament
multiple
success.
30-point games. We're sports gods. What are you doing here?
A season's worth.
You said 3 out of 4 tournament appearances.
So tell me when Oregon State's making the tournament, guys.
I'll tell you, the Oregon State's not in Portland. I can't get past like the
Well, I put Marcus Mariota also on.
I know.
As the only Heisman Trophy winner ever from Eugene.
Well, I just think that the fact, to me, it's not that bogus. The fact that he was in Seattle fighting the Portland Trailblazers for a decade.
But that's what I mean. Like, he's not Portland. Like, there's no, I don't, like, it just, this one, Maggie, you make Mount Olympi like people draw you. It's not. It's
a loose interpretation.
It's not going well.
Is what you're saying?
This is a 5-0 sweep now for Perloff.
Oh, get out of here. Let's get to Aaron, who's in Oregon. Aaron, please enlighten these folks.
Well, I am driving from Corvallis to Eugene right now. I will tell you, Maggie, you did win. I feel like you won. Pre is the Mount Olympus all by himself in Oregon for sure. But Gary Payton is wildly outstripping Bill Walton. Bill Walton was always a kid from L.A.
Yeah, San Diego, L.A., exactly.
The problem Perloff has is he equates winning with some sort of esteem in Oregon, and there's no esteem for winning. Almost winning 3 times. They still talk about Gary Payton every single Beaver game if you're in that stadium. When his son was there, that's all they could talk about. First time we made the tournament since the real Gary Payton. So I feel like Maggie won this one for sure. The mistake is thinking that this state cares about winning. It's almost tainting your legacy to win. But Bill Walton's not Oregon at all.
Huh. But that's
you win Oregon, but Pre is the guy in the state for sure. So this might be a tie.
Why do you think that winning is not the thing?
Well, look at Riley. Riley could have coached at Oregon State for all time. by going to one bowl game every 7 years. We just
Aaron, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And yeah, Perloff putting on Steve Prefontaine, who obviously is a legendary track star who died all too young. That's interesting. That's a little window into the psyche of like Oregon Ducks football. No, winning's not the thing.
No.
Put all this pressure all over
that's the psyche
them.
of Aaron. That's not the psyche of, or especially Oregon Ducks with all the money. Listen, I wanted to put Oregon State in. I looked at DJU, but I couldn't pronounce Olingalele the right way.
And you pronounced it wrong there, too.
Yeah, that try was a swing and a miss, too. Sean is our pal in Oregon. Sean not happy with me that I put Gary Payton on the list. What's up?
No, and I'm not happy with people from Corvallis that give their opinion on Oregon and think that's Portland. We have the agriculture jokes all the time. You know how you get from Eugene to Corvallis? You go north till you smell it, and then you head west till you step in it. That's how you get to their campus.
Sean, we are not getting in the middle of
don't
this.
bring us into this.
No
Civil War.
This is too personal. No, but Corvallis is closer to Portland than Eugene.
Yeah, not much. And you know what? It's an agriculture school. When you go to Portland, it's all Ducks fans. And when you go out in the burbs in the country, it's Oregon State fans.
So?
And you know what Oregon doesn't do? Oregon doesn't win. That's why he says Oregon's not into winning, because they don't win anything. And the Blazers are still it's the youngest franchise to win a championship, and it's the only sports franchise in history to win a championship their very first trip to the playoffs. It was they caught lightning in a bottle, you guys. It wasn't even supposed to happen.
Well, okay, so Bill Walton would be on your Mount Olympus? Is that what you're saying?
Totally. It's the only championship. It's the only guy in town. I mean, a lot of guys, I remember when Bill Walton left town, you got these older curmudgeons that ran him down and stuff like that, but all his younger kids and everybody loved him. And when he came back to town, we loved him. We loved him when he did his biography. Mm-hmm. You should have seen the bookstore. It took him like 4 to 6 hours to get your book signed by him. It was an all-day event. It was just great. You know, on Bill Walton night, when he passed away, just this last year, we had Bill Walton night. Everybody showed up in tie-dye. The whole stadium was electric. The Rose Garden was all tie-dye. It was just awesome, you guys.
Yeah, but Sean, how long did it take for some water to, onto the bridge, like things to pass? I know you're saying the younger generation, but Bill Walton, he just had the documentary Luckiest Man in the World. It was a great job. And luckily, he got to be, part of it before he passed away. I thought the relationship with Walton and the city of Portland was contentious.
I'll say it happened long after he left the Celtics, long after he left the East, and he came back out. In 93, in the early 90s, people started mending that up real quick. He went Hall of Fame in 93.
Yeah.
It was great, you guys. I went to book signings. I went to autograph signings when he came to town every single time.
Wait, Sean, here's a question. Dame Lillard, is he no-brainer on this Mount Olympus?
No, he's not on that. He's not even – I got a room in my house with nothing but Blazer stuff. There ain't one Damian Lillard thing in there.
Really?
That guy, he's so glad that era is over. That was the very worst era in Portland sports. So yeah, that was terrible. I remind people you got to play defense to win championships. And when he was here, and that whole Terry Stotts, I called it the terrible Terry Stotts era. Thank goodness it's over with.
So we both had Clyde Drexler on our Mount Olympus. I assume you're cool with that.
I like Clyde. Clyde's my main guy. But when you talk Mount Olympus, when you talk that, I'm not sure I can put him on there, you guys. I'm just thinking right now.
So there's no Blazers then.
Walton.
I'm sorry, you said Walton.
I'm putting Bill Walton on there.
I mean, Clyde made it to a finals. You can't 2 finals. Excuse me, right? You can't give him that.
But one with Portland.
Sorry, one with Portland, then he won one with Houston.
Guys, I'm putting
two. I'm right about that.
On there.
What's that?
I'm putting a couple more important people on there. I'm putting Maurice Lucas on there. Maurice Lucas is the reason we won that championship. And Perloff should know that.
I looked at Maurice Lucas. I looked at Maurice Lucas. Yeah, because he's amazing. He's a big icon.
Leading scorer. He was the leading scorer in the finals.
Toughest dude in the history of the NBA, right? The original tough guy of the NBA, right? Maurice Lucas.
Original, and we won the championship the very first year Maurice Lucas came to the team along with Jack Ramsey.
I looked at Dr. Jack too.
Yeah.
Here's another one. We both did not put Rasheed Wallace on because obviously, he's like an icon. I don't know if he can raise to the level as a sports god, but there was so much for a very long time. Rasheed Wallace in Portland was same.
No way, you guys. No, I
was
didn't
part
like
of
that guy.
That Jailblazers era.
Yeah, and he was a total head case. That guy was a total head case. When you talk about the Mount Rushmore, you put people like Terry
Olympus.
Baker on there. See, Terry Baker, he won a high school championship in Portland with Mel Renfro, and then he went to Oregon State and he won a Heisman Trophy. That's Portland. That's Oregon State. We don't think of that guy basketball player from Seattle. We think of Terry Baker.
Can I ask you what random name?
Around here.
Sean, I heard that his name Clive Charles a lot. I know nothing about him, but it's a soccer guy.
Player.
What's that?
That was Portland Timbers. Back when I was a little kid, Clive Charles, that was the guy. That was the soccer player.
So he was coach of University of Portland and coach of the U.S. men's team for a long time. Apparently, he's like a soccer god. Know nothing about him. I know Clive Davis, the musician guy. Yeah. Have you ever heard of him? But everyone's like,
oh yeah, University of Portland. That's the Portland Pilots. They all wear purple.
Yeah. And Spolstra.
Those guys, he's the main dude.
And I was going to say, if you're going to go Gary Payton, can you go Eric Spolstra from the University of Portland, point guard?
No. Not at all.
Succinct, Sean, to the point. Thank you for taking us to school on the city and history of Portland sports. And Sean, he's made some good points. Still keeping Gary Payton. Nobody seems to be arguing with my Phil Knight selection. Sports gods.
Megan Rapinoe, University of Portland, too, by the way.
She's from Oregon, too?
And I think she's from California, but I got to double check that. University of Portland. So, there's a lot of connections. So, I think what we're really arguing over is the structure of these Mount Olympuses. Like, how long do you have to be in the city? What was your role in the city? Is a surrounding area? So it's not like I'm saying Gary Payton isn't a god. I just think he's a god in a different city.
Nobody arguing with my Marcus Mariota either, which I thought.
Oh, that one, nah. That was a system quarterback.
Be a little. Come on.
Might as well put Chip on there if you're going to put Mariota on there.
Don't worry. Perloff also calls
Eagles
Tom
legend.
Brady a system quarterback. It's
What
not
was that
a
little
diss.
5'8" guy who couldn't be tackled? That's a guy.
Michael James.
Oh, yeah. He was sick.
Michael
And then there was another one, too.
LeGarrette Blount.
D'Anthony Thomas.
D'Anthony Thomas. That's my guy.
Black Mamba. Second Black Mamba.
I was going to say, I think that one's taken.
They called him Black Mamba and Snoop Dogg.
Well, I say Justin Herbert has strong connections from Eugene, right?
He is from Eugene.
So you could argue Herbert over Mariota, even though Mariota got to the title game, because Herbert is really, really strong Oregon roots.
I thought Mariota was better than him in Oregon.
That's the thing. It's like Herbert's having the better NFL career, no doubt. But
Herbert was good. Listen, it wasn't like they were terrible.
I'm not saying he was a bum. I mean, Mariota was the number 2 pick in the draft. It wasn't like he was.
Herbert was the number 6 pick in the draft, and they were like
which is better.
They lost one key game that kept them out of the hunt. Justin Herbert is not that far below Marcus Mariota. He's from there. We're counting
one
Eugene.
One guy won the Heisman. I don't know. I don't see that as that close.
Where did Bo Nix fall on the Oregon QB?
He's pretty
right
good.
behind Joey Harrington. Let's get.
Oh, that's another guy. He was really good.
That was my guy. I love Joey Harrington.
Very and became super famous too because they did this big Heisman campaign.
He could play piano on Monday Night Football.
He was my favorite mid quarterback in the NFL. Like
Joey,
he would go on there, throw 3 picks, 1 touchdown, and like 220 yards, and it'd be an exciting, terrible Lions loss.
Yeah, I was gonna say Lions football, catch the fever. Let's get to Bogus's headlines. What's up?
Nyjah Kennedy was the softball player Maggie mentioned earlier this morning. She was a star at Stanford, which is why Texas Tech paid her $1 million in NIL to come to Lubbock and take the program farther than it's ever gone. And there was Kennedy, 1 strike away from pitching the Red Raiders into the Women's College World Series final for the very first time.
Here's Kennedy's 0-2 pitch. Swinging a high drive, deep into right, back at the wall, and it's gone! It is gone! Abby Dayton with a 2-run home run has tied the game!
Oof.
Oklahoma is not done yet.
That's Ryan Radke on Westwood One. Oklahoma staying alive, down to its last strike, trying to win a 5th consecutive national title. But Texas Tech won in the bottom half of the 7th on Lauren Allred's sac fly. So those Red Raiders join Texas in the best-of-3 finale that begins tomorrow with a 3-2 win in the semis last night. Kennedy, by the way, is the first pitcher in 6 years to throw every pitch for her team
Oh my God.
into the championship series. This will never not blow my mind growing up in baseball. The
Yeah.
complete 180 of softball pitching where pitch counts don't matter and you throw yesterday, come right back today, let's do it again.
Oh, you
It's
threw-
unbelievable.
You threw 130 pitches 2 days ago? Get out there and throw another 110.
Hey, that's what the money's for, right? I mean,
Actually,
at least they're
what I-
finally getting money now.
When I was a kid, Little League was like that. Like they didn't have a rotation. It's the same kid pitched every game.
Yeah, now we've got charts and counters and everything.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
But when you were a kid, like there was no rotation. It's like, Jimmy was a good pitcher. Let's have him pitch.
For the most part, yeah.
So that is interesting though. So the arms don't wear out.
No, because that's the natural way to throw a ball is underhand. So it's almost no stress as opposed to your elbow and your shoulder being shredded by throwing a baseball.
Wow.
And speaking of baseball, Mets and Dodgers in L.A. last night, tied at 2, top 10.
Scott sets, kicks home. Swinging a fly ball hit the opposite way. Chasing Hernandez back. He turns and it's off the base of the wall. Acuna hits third. He's on his way to the plate. The throw goes into second base where Francisco Alvarez is there with a sliding double. He gives the Mets a 3-2 lead in the 10th inning.
That's Pat McCarthy on Mets radio. Francisco Lindor adding an RBI single. Then the Dodgers left 2 men on the bottom of the 10th, so the Mets get the win 4-3. The A's now on a 7-game skid after taking a 10-4 beating from the Twins in Sacramento. The Brewers extending their win streak to 8, 3-2 in Cincinnati. And the Tigers hammered the White Sox 13-1 with Kerry Carpenter going deep 3 times. Detroit, the first team this season with 40 wins. An odd one in Atlanta, the Braves are bringing back former manager Freddie Gonzalez to coach third base. He is now working under Brian Snitker, who replaced him as manager. Original third base coach Matt Tuiasosopo reassigned to the minors. The Braves are 9-14 in one-run games, blaming some of that on bad decisions from Tuiasosopo.
Yikes.
I've never seen a third base coach scapegoated before.
Neither have I.
This
I'm
is
sure
a
the
new
Mets
one.
have done it a couple times.
How do you get sent down as a coach to the minors, man?
That's crazy.
Well, that's the other part. It's like if he's giving the major leaguers bad habits, why would you send him to the minor leagues? Why don't you just fire him?
He's going to be, I guess he was the part or co-infield instructor, so he's going to go do that in the minors. I don't think he's going to coach third base anywhere.
So
Just hit some fungos, Matt. Just hit some fungos. Don't stand in the third base box.
Snitker is retiring at the end of the season, right?
I don't think we know that for sure yet.
Oh, okay.
Bring back Bobby Cox. What are they doing?
Well, that might be hard. But I think that maybe this is the heir apparent. Like, are they trying to get Freddie Gonzalez in the building to take back over?
Stay alive.
Is this with baseball now? Are we running out of managers?
It's becoming the NHL.
It can't be. There's so many players to choose from. There'll always be a Craig Counsell somewhere.
Yeah, I can't remember if Snitker has said officially out loud that he's not staying around. I think there's a strong assumption that might be the case, but I don't know if he's actually fully said that. And then I don't know if Freddie Gonzalez is any more qualified to be a big league manager. I don't know. It didn't go
I
well.
would buy
in
lunch.
Atlanta.
The Braves don't make the playoffs.
For anyone who could tell me where Marcus Tuiasosopo is coaching right now.
Marcus?
Yeah.
I feel like the Tuiasosopos I associate a lot with like the University of Washington and
Manti Te'o.
USC.
I'm going to go University of Toronto.
I was going to go UCLA.
He just left the college ranks where he was the offensive coordinator at Rice to become a Detroit Lions special passing assistant.
Oh.
Full circle. Because he was a hot college coach for a little bit.
We're going to
But it
buy
has
the
nothing to
kneecap
do-
off.
Yeah, I did not know there was a baseball coach. Same last name. There you go.
It's safe to assume that they're related,
I
right?
assume they're all related. Because the catfish that was with Manti Te'o, that was like his cousin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Right.
actually didn't know how common a name it was.
Yeah.
And on the women's side, I think the Tuiasosopo last name, I believe, is a big name in volleyball.
Yeah, they're like a
Oh, and related to
they're like a
Marcus?
sports
Yeah.
they're like a sports dynasty in American Samoa.
Remember, we were going to do the Mount Olympus of sports families, and we
probably
should
deserve
add the
one.
Tuiasosopos to the list.
Do not put the person that catfished Manti. They should not make the list.
Yeah, they're going to be banished.
With Shiloh.
With Shiloh.
Some quick tennis. Women's top seed, Arina Sabalenka, a 7-6, 6-3 win over 8th-seeded Qin Huan Zhen.
And let's not forget Shiloh.
Reach the French Open semifinals. Right now, Iga Swiatek is up the first set on Elina Svitolina. And Chicago Fire of MLS announcing plans
for a privately funded soccer-specific stadium.
They had one.
The plan is to open in spring of 2028.
They literally had one, and then they moved back to Soldier Field.
How do you know this stuff?
I'm a nerd.
Okay. We'll keep our eye on that story.
Started out angry. I did not know that was going to be a grenade.
Given that, do you know?
Man, he's like, they laid the concrete 6 months ago.
No, for real. Like, is it going to be in Chicago? I know the issue was that the Fire were playing outside of Chicago, so that was what the minus was of having the soccer-specific stadium out there, and that's why they moved back to Soldier Field. But is this stadium going to be in Chicago?
They said on River
Are you
and
on speed? Why did you say that so fast? Wait, Manny, I'm sorry, but you should answer that question. For the audience.
River and Roosevelt is how they're describing it in the city.
Yeah, of course, River and Roosevelt.
Yeah, get your coordinates right. Manny, do you realize there could be a lane here where you could be like the Shams of just stadium news? Like, this could be your beat.
I've got breaking news. We've got a stadium name change at Yankee Stadium. They have changed the name. Coming up next on Stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah. That being said, I don't think you want anything to do with that Bears Stadium thing. That story has been around since I got into the sports media. That is, Bo, you know what I'm talking about. It is the most annoying story in sports.
It's because Chicago politics is just basically a scam.
Newsman coming at him.
Nothing works. Nothing works there. You can't do anything. It's ridiculous.
We have a president who is from Chicago politics.
I'm saying, just you can't build a stadium. You can't. The simple things like this are problems. Like everybody knows that about Chicago. Yeah, Chicago politics are notoriously corrupt.
Just this week, there's a story about the governor who's against giving the Bears money, but I guess he's been spending 6 figures of public money for lawyers to do all of this, like back and forth with the team. So he wants to save the city money, but he's also paying money for talks.
Yeah, Chicago's notoriously terrible at stuff like this. So I'm not surprised they have no stadium for a football team, soccer team, youth soccer probably, youth football.
Spring 2028, though, huh?
Get your tickets now.
This could be Manny's lane. I see it. Coming up, we got sound from Charles Barkley. Very confusing stuff. What is going on with his future? And we've got more actual football for you. MVP.
I could touch God right now. That's the only chance I'm ever going to get to see him.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie and Perloff Show, Infinity Sports Network, Sirius XM Channel 375. You can watch the show on YouTube and Twitch. Say good morning to our affiliates. And the free Odyssey app is crystal clear. You can take us wherever you go. And there's a rewind function in case you miss anything. Okay, we're doing the Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods of every great sports city. Today we're tackling Portland, which kind of expanded to Portland and Eugene and Corvallis. It's led to a lot of controversy, a lot of strong opinions. PJ is in Atlanta. PJ, you think we missed 2 people that were very important. Who are they?
Well, Dick Fosbury, who reinvented track and field, is from Portland, and Jerome Kersey couldn't palm a basketball. He was my favorite Portland Trailblazer besides Walton and Drexler. But you got to put Dick Fosbury in there, dude. He changed the game.
Right. Would you put him over Prefontaine?
Yeah, did I stutter? No. Yeah. Dick Fosbury, the Fosbury flop, dude. That's how everybody does it now. What was that, 1968? I was a kid. My dad ran track and field, and yeah, I think he's a preeminent favorite. But you got to take Drexler. I like Kersey. I like Cliff Robinson. You know, I like all those Trailblazers were great, but Dick Fosbury's got to be in there because he's from Portland. And track and field, you know, I know it's an individual sport, but he changed it.
Yeah, no, that's okay, PJ. So for people who may not remember, you're talking about Fosbury flop. That was the first time, and thank you for the call, taking us to task. The first time that anyone ever jumped backwards, right, over the high jump. That was like his technique. He won the gold medal in 1968 for that. I did not put him on. I did not put Steve Prefontaine on. Perloff did. Yeah. I put Phil Knight on my Mount Olympus of Sports Gods of Portland because I think Phil Knight not only, well, yes, he capitalized on the running boom of the 70s, but he has now continued to fund one of the most front-facing programs in the entire state.
Not fair. I mean, listen, I actually strongly considered Clifford Robinson, but then I remembered this was the Mount Olympus. But Clifford Robinson, of course, for young people out there who don't know, he's the guy that got shrugged by Michael Jordan, which was one of the most awesome moments ever. I loved Clifford Robinson, one of my favorite players.
I thought that was the big red dog. I apologize.
You don't remember there were 2 Cliff Robinsons, which is the amazing thing. One went to USC and played for the Sixers, but Clifford Robinson was this underdrafted guy. I have a suspicion of why he was underdrafted.
It's not a suspicion.
I think he continued into the playing career.
But
he was awesome, and what a great player. But
he's a little bit a pioneer. He's like a stretch 5.
Yeah, a big fan of Jerome Kersey too. That was my era.
So you guys, we
put
both
Kevin Duckworth on there too.
Yeah, Duckworth was really good. We both put Clyde Drexler on. I went with Marcus Mariota, the first Oregon Duck to ever win the Heisman. I put Phil Knight on, the founder of Nike, obviously. And then I went with Gary Payton, who was the most well-known basketball player from Oregon State. And there's like no second, really. Go ahead, Pearl.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, when you're talking about Portland sports, Oregon State basketball is the first thing that you think about, not Oregon football.
I thought of Jaquiz Rogers. I told you that.
So I mentioned also the guy who played for Steven Jackson, the guy who played for the Rams.
Right.
Yes. I hung out with him once. I tell you, what a great guy. Okay. I went with Clyde Drexler. Damian Lillard, I still think, it doesn't feel like I'm getting a lot of traction on that one. But
I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, Dame seems like a big deal there. Then I went Bill Walton because he won the title in '77, and I went with Steve Prefontaine, but I guess I was told I don't know what I'm talking about by PJ in Atlanta, who's from Portland. Is that the deal?
And Dad was a big track person.
Dude had 2 movies. I mean, I have not seen a Dick Fosbury movie. I just think the movies alone. I mean,
let's call Sandler. Let's get it going.
Name another track star.
So we're in the hustle hat today.
Name another track star besides Jesse Owens who's had multiple movies about him. You can't.
Yeah, no, I can't. But I guess here's the other part about Dame Lillard. Yes, Dame obviously synonymous with the Blazers. I understand it. Never got to the finals, whereas Drexler got to 2. But I also think of Dame as a major figure in Oakland. It's like who you got, Steph Curry or Dame, is like a conversation I think that happens on bar stools all over the Bay Area for a while. 888-710-4i7. I think they had a rivalry. It's like Dame's the guy who's from Oakland, and Steph is the guy who was winning titles in Oakland when they still were there.
You think of Damian Lillard, who's from Oakland, as famous for Oakland?
I do.
A lot of people do.
I think it's like Marshawn Lynch. I think he's like a god there. We're doing sports gods.
Lynch definitely, but I mean, Lynch went. I don't know. I feel like if you're going to put him on any Mount Olympus, it's definitely Portland.
Okay.
I mean, do you guys remember the shot and the hugs and all that? That's the NBA history.
The Thunder. He's a legend. I agree with you. I think he should be in Portland. But he is definitely an Oakland legend too.
Yeah.
Just like
right.
Gary
But
Payton,
I mean,
ironically,
it's a little different than Marshawn. You know, anyway, Lillard all-time leading scorer for the Blazers, so obviously has that too. And if you're going to go with the guy who, if you're going natives, Ndamukong Suh, can you imagine blocking that guy? And apparently he's a big deal in Portland, owns a bunch of restaurants. Can you imagine him in high school? Like you weigh 180 pounds and you show up and he's on the other side of the line in Portland, Oregon?
Yeah, it's like that scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Forrest Whitaker. So Danny Ainge is another guy who's from Oregon who obviously was a college star at BYU and then most famously, Celtics played for the Blazers actually. So no, he did play in town. But did you guys see that his son was just hired as an executive with the Jazz?
Yeah.
Where Danny Ainge is running the front office. I ask you this question. Is that any worse than Bronny and what LeBron did to get Bronny to the Lakers?
Definitely. And I saw this a lot on Twitter. You can bring in any Bill, Dick, or Harry into the front office to give them a roster spot is crazy.
So you think LeBron's was worse?
Definitely.
Definitely worse because he's actually taking a roster spot. Like the front office, like he's probably kicking out some other executive's kid. I mean, who cares?
Probably, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also not like, it's not like Austin Ames came from college and said, all right, you're the president of a team. Like he was a head coach in the D League before it was even the G League.
Wait, for what franchise?
For Boston.
The Boston one, EJ.
Right,
How did he get that job?
I know that, but again, it's like he didn't just promote him right to president. Like that's basically what LeBron did for Bronny.
He's the assistant GM of the team. He's going to be basically deciding on these roster spots.
Now he's the president of Utah.
Now he's the president.
But he didn't put Austin on the team.
President.
He didn't say you're the backup shooting guard.
But he's basically saying, I empower you to sign the starting shooting guard.
Yeah, but he's been in the front office of one of the best front offices in the league in the Celtics.
I know, but he's only been there because his dad was there. We don't even know if he was any good.
Well, now you're getting the whole nepotism thing, but it's
exactly.
so different. But show another one where a guy's actually made a team in the NBA, taking a roster spot because his dad signed him. Actually, you might have somebody, but
No, I'm just saying who's more powerful, though, right? It's like, yeah, you took up one roster spot with Bronny, or the son who's the president of basketball operations gets to decide all the roster spots. So,
well, yeah, but I mean,
is he qualified? Who knows?
But it's just so different with Bronny. Like, to actually make the kid play on the team is way more severe than. Of course, he hired Austin Ames. Is anyone surprised by that? What do you think? Where do you think all the other executives come from?
No, I understand. And who's running the Phoenix Suns right now?
No one.
Is it Mark Bartelstein's son? Bang up job. 888-710-4ISN. Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Get back to our Mount Olympus, 4 sports gods from the amazing city of Portland, Oregon in a moment, because this Browns quarterback situation is one that has to be addressed. Good morning, Perloff. How you doing?
I'm great. Generally, I'm feeling that thing inside.
What's that?
When a story becomes hype more than reality.
No, I disagree about the Shedeur story being more hype than value.
I think this is why people didn't want to draft Shedeur, because we're going to be putting out stats of his OTA workouts. This is exactly why he fell to the 5th round. It is summed up in the recent conversations all over. This is why no team wants a 5th round backup 4th string quarterback to get as much attention as he did. It's got to be a massive distraction, because every throw this guy makes is being picked apart in mostly in a positive way, but still, it's out of control.
No, see, this is why it is such an important story, is because so far Shedeur Sanders is doing well at Browns camp. Okay, that's
Browns
the headline.
Mini camp.
Browns mini camp.
Not training camp, just to be clear. This
Manny, can you cue up the Nate Segura sound, please? So far, he's doing well, okay?
And in shorts at a practice where he's not even playing 11-on-11. Okay.
He's never been in the NFL before, and this thing that's in front of him, he's doing well. We'll see if he does well at the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Mm-hmm. He's not getting rolled out to play against the Pittsburgh Steelers next week, so it's like bit by bit, brick by brick. So right now, he's holding his own. He's doing well. We talked to Nate Segura, who covers the team. This was his evaluation.
There's something about Shedeur. I got a chance to interview him. He is very confident, but not in a cocky way. Has a lot of belief in himself. I like him. I like the kid a lot.
Okay, about the football, here's more.
Shedeur's look good, though. His ball placement is elite. His ability to layer throws is elite. I think he's got plenty of arm strength. We've seen that on display, certainly in camp at times.
Okay, that's the evaluation. This is why it's an important story, because he fell to the 5th round, and we all have a million reasons why we think that happened, ranging from Deion's influence to whether or not he blew all these pre-draft meetings. But now we're here in a quarterback room that does not have a standout leader. You know, there's not a guy who you would say no doubt should be starting for the Cleveland Browns. Am I right about that?
I would, but I would say Joe Flacco is the no doubt starter.
Well, he's the 20-year veteran, so he's got the biggest track record.
He played in this offense and got comeback player of the year in this offense. Like, it's, to me, I don't even understand why there's a competition, but I'm alone on that one.
I think there's a competition because I think it's probably, I'm going to say a pipe dream, but it'd be shocking to make it through a 17-game schedule with Joe Flacco. When he had that great run with the Browns 2 years ago, didn't he play 6 games at the end of the year? So it's a different type of like calculus you have to have. So it's him, it's Pickett, it's Dillon Gabriel, and it's Shedeur. So yeah, this is going to be a story, but you want to know why? Because it's possible that Shedeur makes a push here as camps continue. You know, he is a 4-year starter in college. He is a little bit older. He did run an offense that was a former NFL coach was in his ear, and Pat Shurmur at Colorado. That's the most recent example. Right. It's possible he does make a push. Now, let's couple that with our pal Zach Gelb, who had Zach Jackson from The Athletic on his show, who said Dillon Gabriel, who is also vying here for a roster spot, said he doesn't look like an NFL quarterback.
Dillon Gabriel does not look like an NFL quarterback to me, like 0%. So I don't know what's going to happen.
So why do they love Gabriel so much?
Well, they fell in love with the intangibles, right? But they have an analytic charting project that they have followed in the past, and they lucked. And so, they were more than willing to admit, like, yes, you saw us in Mississippi at Jackson Darts thing. Yes, we've done the thing, but they kind of snuck in a trip to Oregon on their way to the highly publicized pro day at Colorado, and Gabriel was fairly impressive at the Senior Bowl.
Okay, so
by the way, he said they love the intangibles
and the analytics.
With the exact opposites, but wait. Okay,
yeah.
But
so
here, I heard something
this is where it's opening the door for Shedeur. I didn't mean that term.
It is quite deceiving the coverage of this, because I heard Mary Kay Cabot, recently inducted in the Hall of Fame, by the way, congratulations, said that the practices that they've seen, no one has seen Shedeur in an 11-on-11, meaning he's only been on 7-and-7, and according to reports, Dillon Gabriel's only gotten 4 reps on 11-on-11. And Flacco and Pickett have taken all the team reps. So for real football, it's been Flacco and Pickett that the rookies are out on the side field just throwing with shorts. They're basically having a catch. But the way it's being covered is like basically Dillon Gabriel's coming up short in team practices, and Shedeur, they haven't even been in team practices yet. They've barely gotten any 11-11. I guess they have a big, on Wednesday, everyone in Cleveland is on fire because they get to see an 11-on-11 practice. For the first time, they'll see Shedeur with 11 guys. We've never even seen him beyond 7-on-7 drill. This is nothing. There's no real knowledge of what's happening here, but the coverage has been as if he sort of played a preseason game because he's Shedeur. There's too much hype.
See, I think it's not hype so much. It's curiosity, because the fall was so steep and so unexpected. Even if you didn't think he was a first rounder, no one thought he was going to drop all the way to the 5th. So it's like, and nobody, by the way, very few people, I think, had him below Dillon Gabriel, who we really like, and maybe Dillon Gabriel should be in front of Shedeur, but that's not how it was portrayed before the draft. So I think it's not so much hype now. Now it's curiosity. And can he actually compete in OTAs and then training camp, and then we get to the preseason? Can he actually compete like he is a late first or early second round pick?
Okay. I'm with you partway. I do think there is a lot of curiosity. People want to figure out, hey, why didn't the NFL want him as a top 10 pick? But if he was another guy who fell, say Jalen Milroe was projected in the first round and fell to the 5th round, he actually went in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Then there would be curiosity. It'd be a big story. But because he's Shedeur Sanders, it's amplified. It's 10 times the curiosity, 10 times the hype. Honestly, it's not just a normal quarterback who fell and is in practice. There's a lot of quarterbacks over the years who followed. And it's just like, of course we're paying more attention to him because of his last name. You think that this is just, if he was any old quarterback, yeah, we'd be interested. But we were tracking, there's a stat out there on how he threw in practices in 7-on-7. That's nuts.
Well, that's also for diehard people who are looking for that.
But they never do that for any other quarterback. You know Jalen Milroe's stats? No, nobody knows what Jalen Milroe's stats, because only a weirdo would keep track of the Seattle, they're playing catch. They're actually playing catch.
Well, I mean, they keep track of pro day stats, so I'm not gonna kill the messenger here on the information. People wouldn't be putting it out if there wasn't some type of appetite for it. I'm not saying you have to pay attention to it, but on the whole, is Shedeur going to be able to really compete? Now, here was Giannis getting a lot of attention because he was on Asante Samuel's podcast this week, I guess, and he believes. All of the pre-draft stuff, the negativity towards Shedeur. Manny, let's hear that cut where he talks about it's all foolery, it's all lies. Shedeur did nothing wrong.
Stop lying. You got to understand, my kids are built for everything. We had 2 TV shows, and then we had shows in high school with playing football in junior and senior year. So we've always been in front of the camera, so they know how to navigate. They know how to handle themselves. Yeah. And you're not going to catch them in no foolery and no mess. You're not going to do that whatsoever.
Okay, let's hear more from Deion. He says the real reason why Shedeur fell is not because of Shedeur. Let's hear the one where he says it's about him because Deion, people he thinks are insecure around him.
I never want to go anywhere anyway, man. So, I know there's a lot of rumors about the next level, and I can't see that. Yeah. I can't see the next level. And I think a couple people who may have taken shots at my kids, they were afraid that I would go to that next level. And that's where the shots came from. All you got to do is just sit back and listen. And watch.
That's all you got to do.
But people don't want to do that. They want to create these narratives and create these stories and then attach them to a kid that ain't never done nothing wrong.
Bro, if this is kind of in line with what you think the fact that Deion is coaching and has said he wants to would only go to the NFL to coach his son.
Yeah.
That the self-preservation aspect, a lot of these coaches and front offices kicked in.
Well, it's not just self-preservation. It's also sports parents are a huge pain in the butt. No owner wants to hear.
What about Hall of Famers?
Trust me, from Philly, like Donovan McNabb's mom was great in Campbell's soup commercials. But I just think that sports parents at any level, whether it's, it's your local rec league, whether it's high school, whether it's college, they are anathema to what front offices are trying to do. You don't want to hear from anybody. And you definitely don't want to have a sports dad with a microphone. Because if the Dallas had drafted him, Brian Schottenheimer didn't play him, Deion would get a microphone and say, Brian Schottenheimer, what are you doing? Right? I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that's exactly what would happen. So Dallas definitely should have drafted Shedeur from a talent standpoint, but they said, you know what, we're not dealing.
Well, okay, but, no disrespect to Donovan McNabb's mom, but, Deion Sanders, a little bit more football expertise and acumen coming from a little bit of different spot.
Oh, don't say that to Donovan McNabb's mom. As I remember that chunky soup commercial, she did not want to hear about that.
I know. It's like a meal in a bowl.
By the way, I didn't mean to single her out. I did hear that but generally teams are, I've heard this many times, teams do not like parents calling people.
Oh, Belichick tells the story about Joe Klecko with his kid. I get all that. But here's the thing, is that Deion is also like part of the NFL family. So he's saying that he's hurt by this, the fact that he's perceiving this as lies. And I understand the instinct as a parent to go out there and defend your kid. He wasn't wearing headphones. He would never do anything like that. As Deion kind of said, we've been on camera since he was in middle school. He knows how to handle himself with adults and all of that. I get the instinct. I kind of wish that Deion wouldn't do it. And I'm not saying and telling him how to parent. I'm just saying that so far, Shedeur has really handled himself extremely well at Browns camp. That one story that came up about the Bentley or whatever, like he tamped that down. That shouldn't have even been a story, by the way. It didn't happen at the facility. Who cares how he spends his money? But like that's the hype part of it. That had no substance whatsoever. But if I'm Deion, I just got to let the kid compete. And I understand that you want to come to his defense because it's your name, the family's name. You think that it's actually about you, a million reasons. But I would say, like, he's doing fine. Just let him keep competing here at every step of the way for the Browns. And you're talking about hype versus substance. It's stuff like this that gets in the news cycle and stays alive. Shedeur doesn't need it.
Yeah, but I think you're asking for too big a thing. To ask Deion Sanders to not comment on something? When does that work?
Well, I mean, you got to ask yourself, like, you just watched your kids sit there for 3 days and sit there and watch them fall and fall and fall and fall. Like, when, he's got to just go out there and stand on his own.
Sounds great in theory.
Can't do it.
Well, listen, you get back to the heart of the matter. Shedeur's never had another coach besides Deion. Deion's never had another college quarterback besides Shedeur. To just separate the two sounds good in theory, but in reality, I think it's going to be really hard to do.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. What are you guys laughing about over there?
A lot of weird stuff going on with uniforms, sports uniforms.
Oh, that's a left turn.
Talking about the Knicks back here, if we're being honest.
Good God, guys. Season's over. Get a grip.
Yeah, well, we're getting new shorts, and we're very excited about that.
Summer attire, baby.
All right.
You guys are or the Knicks are?
The Knicks are. So in turn, we are.
Which means I am.
The Knicks lost 3 days ago, and they already announced a new uniform.
Well, stuff's getting leaked.
Leaked.
Yeah.
Nothing official yet.
Yeah, they're getting new uniforms, and I'm sure the season tickets are now 20% higher. Have fun.
I had to
I'm gonna
go.
throw my shoe at you.
I snuck a peek, Maggie. I had to look at the poll results of the Portland Mount Olympus that we're doing.
Oh, yeah,
today.
let's reset that. So we're doing the Mount Olympus of every great sports city, the 4 sports gods, today because we've created this connection with the city of Portland that we absolutely love. We've been on, the Maggie Perloff show has been on in Portland ever since we began in afternoons, and it's just been a love affair with us in that city. So we are doing Portland. I picked Phil Knight. I picked Clyde Drexler. I picked Marcus Mariota, the only Heisman winner ever to play for the Ducks. And I picked Gary Payton, a little Oregon State love for the glove.
Yeah, I went with Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Bill Walton, and Steve Prefontaine.
Thank you, Greg Gumbel. Thank you, Bill Paley. Thank you, Edward R. Murrow. Yeah.
Only time we're ever associated with Edward R. Murrow.
The only one we agreed on today was Clyde Drexler, which is a good one.
Want to do the poll results?
Oh, yeah, 83% are with me.
Oh,
Gary
my goodness,
Payton?
83?
Gary Payton. It's Portland. It's not Seattle. They're rivals.
Yeah, Matt, you're struggling with this one.
Oh, my goodness, 83. It was a slaughter.
Okay, but we're not doing pro careers here. Like we're
not doing where people are from either. So, like, this feels closer to where people are from.
Can anyone else name another Oregon State basketball
What
player?
does that have to do with what we're doing here?
To be honest, no, I can't.
That makes you a god when the only one you can name is a Hall of Famer.
I think he is definitely an Oregon State icon. I totally agree. I just feel like when you have
Oregon
a professional team that won a championship, there are other people that have credence over him. Like I think Terry Porter or Maurice Lucas have credence over him.
Okay, but I put Drexler on there.
you
And
can
I
also
didn't put the championship team on. I understand that. But here's the thing. I was going to put Bill Walton on. I was totally with Perloff on this one, and I could have done it. But I went back and looked. 4 seasons, yes, a championship. But also, I remember the Bill Walton doc where he said he had a very strained relationship with Portland. Now, I'm glad it's better now, and it's come around. But you're telling me 4 seasons in a place because you win a title, you're now a Mount Olympus guy?
I know these guys have played a lot more in these cities, but both Bill Russell and Larry Bird had rough relationships with the city of Boston. Like I get what you're saying, but I just feel like
Well, Russell won 11 titles.
No, I know, but Russell also talked about how being in Boston was terrible and was very difficult and very tough for him to talk about it even after his career. Larry Bird really doesn't go back to Boston.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really rep the Celtics at all. You think he's a former Pacer?
Don't blame him.
It's, I mean, you don't like the Pacers either, Manny. But it's. I think that's a calculus. I don't know if I would have thought about.
By the way, one guy who's a local who went to Oregon that I love. Ahmad Rashad.
Well, Ahmad Rashad. I thought about Ahmad Rashad. It was Bobby Moore, right? Was when he was playing there as a wide receiver.
Also, Haloti Ngata was the best defensive player I ever saw. I know Deion Jordan got drafted higher, but that's another one.
Ngata was great. Penei Sewell is great.
But can you imagine a Haloti Ngata at Oregon was terrible? That guy he's one of my favorite players of all time.
Tom Brady just shouted him out. Did you guys see that?
No, what'd he say?
Tom was doing one of his interviews. He's everywhere. And he was talking about the toughest people to play against. And he said, like, Ray Lewis and a couple of the others. And he's like, do you remember Haloti Ngata? And the person interviewing him didn't seem like they were familiar. Like, damn, you don't remember Haloti Ngata?
He was one of those players who was drafted 12, but he was one of those guys that was drafted 12 like everyone knew was like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be a future All-Pro.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like everybody knows the number 2 or 3 pick's gonna be a star.
It's like Vita Vea. It's
but
that guy's gonna be awesome. He's not going number 1, but I bet he's gonna be.
Yeah, my girth is rather large.
He's going to Baltimore. He's gonna protect Ray Lewis. Like, oh god, this is gonna be terrible for the rest of the offenses in the NFL, and it was. Great player.
Really good.
That was some big meaty men slapping meat. He definitely qualifies as a big meaty man. Slapping a lot of meat in the
Kaplan
middle.
told me to throw in the towel.
When I sent him the list last night, he was like, is Maggie throwing this competition?
I like my list.
I feel
Phil
like
Knight,
I thought
Marcus Mariota.
Phil Knight was a great pick, and I actually liked the Mariota pick. The Gary Payton one was, I love the glove, and I love that we're repping college basketball. That was a tough one, though, for me.
Well, you know when you lost when you said he made the tournament 3 out of 4 years? That's a Mount Olympus level? I mean,
I would have said you should have said he was the number 2 pick.
Number 2 pick, I said that too. Number 2 pick.
Just stop there.
Okay. I'm not going to do Jameer Nelson for Philadelphia because he was awesome at St. Joe. It's like this is like the NBA kind of knocks that out in my
Although
mind.
Jameer Nelson may have.
Jameer, but by the way, my favorite. You guys ever seen Eric Spoelstra University of Portland highlights?
Oh,
Those
I have actually.
sick.
Yeah,
amazing.
I have way too much time on my hands.
Yeah, and they have a great nickname, right? The Pilots.
The Pilots, yeah, they're
Portland Pilots.
West Coast Conference, baby, go Zags.
I love alliteration.
All right, we got to get to this Charles Barkley sound. I guess I'm losing. All right, so that's just going to make me work
what
even
city
harder.
Is tomorrow? What city is tomorrow?
Green Bay / Milwaukee.
You're not losing. You're getting absolutely obliterated.
No. Let's be nice. Green Bay, Milwaukee. That's a great chance for revenge because I think there's going to be a big argument. Is this guy more Green Bay? Is this guy more Milwaukee? University of Wisconsin. You're going to be throwing in Barry Alvarez.
Well, University of Wisconsin is in Madison. Are you talking about University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee?
Well, that's what I think. You just did Corvallis, so you're going to claim that.
Corvallis is closer than Eugene to Portland.
It is.
Madison is very far from Milwaukee
Madison
and
doesn't
Green Bay.
count. But Green Bay and Milwaukee we're doing together.
That's like a 2.5 hour drive.
Oh my God! How far is Green Bay? What is that? It's almost an hour.
An
right?
hour 45 from Milwaukee. Yeah.
So like I think if you're going to do Green Bay, you could do, and you're doing Corvallis and Eugene. You could definitely, in my mind, do Madison. I think it's in play.
Bo Ryan, let's go. We're getting him
and
in
Bo
there.
Ryan for both
college basketball.
Well, what was he at Whitewater? Where was he before?
Yeah, Wisconsin Whitewater.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Division III powerhouse.
No.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this schedule. I feel like Maggie, maybe we have 3 rows on the summer 2025 tour. The first row, maybe this is not going to go well, but you got 2 more rows of dates left, and I think you worked in DC, so you got DC coming up.
There you go.
You do a lot of spots in Atlanta. You could ask our friend Carl Dukes to help us out. I think you're going to make a comeback in the second row.
Home court advantage.
Second row is more advantageous to you, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to be like
matchups,
the
better
Indiana
matchups.
Pacers of this.
All right.
It's
I
all
was trying
about
to help you,
comebacks.
and then help you, and then you just do that to me. Thank you.
That one was for Manny. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, we've been talking about it. We will get to it next, we promise. Charles Barkley sound that has us very confused. See if you can make heads or tails of it next.
We're going to send it to Galveston with that dirty-ass water.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
That old Ford still parked and proud. Kevin LaMelle's got brisket on the grill. Victor Wimmy's dunking just for thrills. And he's back home, dodging that drive. Talking about stats on a hard 9 to 5. He ain't never going down to San Antone. Talk the talk, now he won't pick up the phone. Said Wimby was a bust, now he's got the crown. Rookie of the year while Perloff gets town. Big words, no righteous microphone moans. He ain't never going down to San Antone. And then there's Bill Oddie, oh bless his soul. WrestleMania hits, he crawls in a hole. No emails, no texts, no I'll be late. Just a folding chair and a Ric Flair gate. Monday rolls in and Pete's MIA. Still rewatching The Rock from 98. He's got a dream, and it ain't this show. Just tag team belts and a stone cold flow. He ain't never showing up the day after the slam. He's playing hooky like it's part of the plan. Sipping cold brew in a luchador mask while the whole damn crew picks up his tasks. The lights gone with the WrestleMania tone. He ain't never coming in from parts unknown. So if you hear big bets or big loud talk, you best check their tires before that walk. Wimby's winning, LaMelle's grilling alone, and Perloff's still nerding on his microphone. Put in his stone, write it on a cone. He ain't never going down to San Antone. Shoot, Wimby's got trophies and he's got excuses. When Nerdy King Perloff made a big old bed, said if I lose I'll go pay my debt. Texas bound, he claimed real loud, but that old Ford still parked and proud. Kevin LaMelle's got brisket on the grill. Victor Wimmy's dunking just for thrills. And he's back home, dodging that drive. Talking about stats on a hard 9 to 5. He ain't never going down to San Antone. Talk the talk, now he won't pick up the phone. Said Wimby was a bust, now he's got the crown. Rookie of the year while Perloff gets town. Big words, no righteous microphone moans. He ain't never going down to San Antone. And then there's Bill Oddie, oh bless his soul. WrestleMania hits, he crawls in a hole. No emails, no texts, no I'll be late. Just a folding chair and a Ric Flair gate. Monday rolls in and Pete's MIA. Still rewatching The Rock from 98. He's got a dream, and it ain't this show. Just tag team belts and a stone cold flow. He ain't never showing up the day after the slam. He's playing hooky like it's part of the plan. Sipping cold brew in a luchador mask while the whole damn crew picks up his tasks. The lights gone with the WrestleMania tone. He ain't never coming in from parts unknown. So if you hear big bets or big loud talk, you best check their tires before that walk. Wimby's winning, Lamel's grilling alone, and Perloff's still nerding on his microphone. Put in his stone, write it on a cone. He ain't never going down to San Antonio.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Man, I got to tell you, this gets harder and harder. We're doing Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. What, are you laughing there, Manny?
Bogus was whispering my ear.
Okay. It's because I said things are getting harder and harder. I'm talking about how hard it is to choose the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff.
Glad you clarified that.
We did Portland today with one pro team, and Maggie and I got a knockdown, drag 'em out fight over this. Tomorrow is Milwaukee, Green Bay. I guess not University of Wisconsin. Not that it matters. There are in that if you have a team since 1919 in football, like you're in trouble here. We have a tough assignment ahead tonight.
I know tomorrow's going to be a doozy. I mean, I did 4 Cowboys, basically 4 football players for Dallas. I don't want to give away too much. I don't know if that's going to be my Mount Olympus tomorrow. All Packers. I don't know.
Well, based on your Gary Payton thing, you're probably going to have
you dub Milwaukee.
Yeah, you're gonna have Ron
Johnny
Dane.
Davis.
Well, actually, Ron Dane would be pretty good, but
no, I don't think Madison it might be a little
Frank
too
Kaminsky.
far, but
oh yeah, love Frank Kaminsky.
Sam Decker.
Well, I mean, I think if you're going to do Wisconsin, you would probably find football players through the years. I would think.
And JJ
Jonathan Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
Ron Dane.
Yeah, I mean, they had the
Watt was only there for a year, though, right? A year or 2 years. Russell
He was
Wilson.
there for 2.
Same.
Because he
They were
started-
both transfers.
He started his career in Minnesota, I think.
This is Milwaukee Buck erasure. I want to see Big Dog Glenn Robinson on this list.
Oh, listen, if I could do, but I mean, Sidney Moncrief. When I was a kid, it was like I can't picture the man at all, but Sidney Moncrief is one of those magical names.
That will be tomorrow's Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from the Milwaukee, Green Bay area. Today we're doing Portland / does the spin doctor make it? Marquette?
Oh my God, I forgot about
Doc?
Forgot about Giannis.
We forgot about Marquette as a whole, but yeah, Doc and Dwayne
Jimmy
Wade.
Butler, Dwayne Wade. Jay Crowder.
Al McGuire.
Oh, Al McGuire's a legend.
This is going to be impossible.
But I mean, listen, should we just do Milwaukee? Can we audible?
You also haven't said Hank Aaron yet.
Oh, get out of here.
I mean, this is actually.
Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
This is almost flipping to be easy because there's so many people that have to be in this.
How about Robin Yount and Paul Molitor?
Nope, they're already out.
Where's Prince Fielder rank among
well,
them?
Robin
Gone.
Yount is a pretty
Sent
big
home.
deal.
Oh yeah, but when you're going up against Favre, Lombardi, Bart Starr,
We were talking
Henry
about-
Aaron.
What about Euchre?
Yeah.
Wait, guys, this is tomorrow's show.
I know.
Let's not do tomorrow's show today. Today's show is about Portland. There's
Just a bit outside.
I knew that was coming.
plenty of controversy around Portland.
Man, he's very good at his job.
Yes. Let's get to Barkley, if you don't mind, Bogues, for a second. I want to get your take on this, too. Don't turn your mic off.
We talking Charles or Saquon?
Oh, fair. Let's do Charles first.
They are both on the rundown.
We can get to Saquon in a minute, but let's get to Charles. So Charles was on your at your former stomping grounds, Pearl, on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday. I'm more confused now about the future, of where this Inside the NBA show is going after Barkley did 7.5 minutes on it with Dan Patrick's show. And it was a good interview. It's not their fault. I just don't get it. So here's Barkley, no understanding of what the future holds.
We don't even know.
Okay, all right.
That's one of the reasons I was waiting. Like, yeah, I don't know what we're doing. And then TNT is trying to do something stupid behind the scenes. We taped a pilot about a month ago, and it was the stupidest I've ever seen in my life. You know, because we're not going to be on ESPN as much as people think.
Okay, so not going to be on ESPN as much as people think, and you just shot a pilot for Turner?
Come on, man.
I thought this whole teary goodbye was goodbye to Turner.
Yep. Well, but we knew they were still going to be in that Turner building on Techwood Drive. So we knew that all along. So I guess they think since they're already here, we might as well milk them for some more content.
Okay, more from Barkley. They'll be on TNT half the time, and the other half they're going to be on ESPN, I guess.
We're only probably going to be working for ESPN like half the time to 1/3 of the time. So I think TNT wants to do something. And we taped a pilot about a month ago, and it was the stupidest ever.
He's an idiot and a fool.
He said it twice. Okay, more from Barkley says people won't watch a TNT show over an NBA game if they happen to be competing because the TNT doesn't have the NBA anymore after this.
But they're trying to do something stupid at TNT, which is number one, it's a stupid idea for a couple of reasons. Number one, we won't have basketball highlights. But also, we're probably going to be going up against an NBA game. And anybody who likes basketball ain't going to say, hey, you know what? Let me turn off an NBA game that's on Amazon, ESPN, or NBC to go watch these four dudes sit around and talk about nothing. So it's complicated.
I got this bracelet from a guy in the steam room.
All right.
I mean, just doing ads for a show. I'm sure the TNT executives are like, dude.
So, okay, I thought this whole thing was that they were leaving Turner. This is...
Yeah, me too.
Right.
I'm
Everyone
shocked at that.
Right. So they're not leaving Turner. They're still shooting pilots and stuff. And just to
That's
take
a
people...
good question.
Take people a little behind the scenes on stuff. I don't know. Unless you're a rights holder, you can't get highlights generally from these leagues. You'd have to pay such an exorbitant amount. So, like, for example, when Perloff and I worked at Sports Illustrated and we would do videos for SI.com talking about the Steelers, everything looked like a Ken Burns documentary. It was like slow, still photos. And we, whenever you needed to cover anything.
A slow pan across Ben Roethlisberger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a 6 count. So it's sometimes when you watch highlights on websites and stuff like that, that's just a little behind the scenes. It's so expensive. And when I worked at the NBA, as a production assistant, we would get requests from companies and stuff to cut highlights. Like Gatorade needed 30 dunks from the baseline angle, da-da-da. And it would be so much money that they're paying for these. And it'd be like a 3.5 minute highlight reel.
It's like $25, what you're saying?
Add 7 zeros to that. So it's crazy. They can
Count that high.
So I was wondering, are they going to go beyond basketball and talk about other stuff? Are they going to have guests? Like, what is this show going to be?
Guys, it's going to be on Turner?
Yeah.
Impossible. I thought ESPN's paying for exclusivity, I would imagine, right?
I guess someone still has to pay their contracts. So I assume Turner maybe still be, like, those are guaranteed deals. So I assume they're still getting paid by Turner, so that's why they're doing this other show.
And so ESPN's paying for what?
ESPN's probably, there was some kind of trade too, wasn't there? I feel like there was something with college football games maybe got shifted.
Oh, yeah, that was a thing.
So there was
Turner is getting up college football playoff
so maybe they're getting college football games, and I think they're probably also paying some money just for the name of the show and stuff like that.
Why does this thing have to be so complicated?
Well, maybe it's less complicated than Charles is describing it as.
Right.
True.
But I'm still confused. Like,
he hasn't read the fine print, you're saying?
Right. And when he says that they shot a pilot, like a pilot's an audition for a show. So they're not just going to do an NBA show on random nights on TNT. Like, this is a different iteration of the three of them sitting around.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, maybe they're talking about the NFL or.
Yeah, maybe they have, I guess, like entertainers on. Maybe it's a
Right.
Manning cast without highlights.
I mean, I would assume. I don't know if you guys have seen you guys have definitely seen it. Like Gilbert Arenas' show. I thought maybe it was something like that, where it's just like 5 guys sitting around just talking about random basketball topics. But to do that at night during NBA games does sound ridiculous. Like that show comes out like at noon or whatever.
EJ and Chuck do have a podcast together. They have the steam room together. So I mean,
Right. Also, Gilbert Arenas,
What are
that
we doing?
podcast might be making money in a different type of way than this will make money. That will make money on social media and viral clips and things
endorsements,
like that. And product
product
placement.
placement, yeah.
This is like they want people to watch.
What do you average in Chuck? A triple single?
One thing I do disagree with, I don't think he's going to get much competition from the Amazon product. It's like, who's going to tune in to watch one tanking team against one load managing team on Amazon on a Tuesday night in February?
Manny
Just
and
throwing
EJ.
that out.
There's no chance I'm watching.
Yeah, right.
The hair
Not
on their
watching the
arms
Knicks
just stood up a
instead of
little
this,
bit.
yeah.
That's why
You
Manny's
watch the
single.
Knicks, but I mean, just these general NBA games. Now that they're spread out to everywhere and people don't know what channel they're on, forget it.
Bro, give me Bulls Wizards on a Wednesday night, please.
You have not watched a Wizards game when they weren't playing the Knicks in 20 years, you
You're
liar.
damn right.
If you can name 5 Wizards right now.
Corey Kispert, Alex Sarr.
The Wizards will not be on Amazon. To be clear.
But that's the whole
Cooper
East
Flag.
now. The Wizards are like the
John Wall,
third
Michael
ranked
Jordan.
team in the East now. So like
Kwame Brown.
Bradley Beal.
Actually, you got me there for a second, man. I thought like, oh my God, he's gonna name 5 Wizards.
George Marathon.
It looked like Manny just
George
took
Hill.
a break to snort something off the table, which we know you would not do. It just sounded funny.
I heard a podcast the other day that the Wizards have a protected pick. So like there's no way they're not going to be in the bottom 6 of the league. Like because they fall below 6, they lose their draft pick next year. So they're not signing
That
anybody.
was the Pistons for like 4 years. The Knicks had the Pistons pick. It was lottery protected for 4 years. We kept thinking, well, they're getting Cade, so like maybe they'll be good. And for 4 years, they were awful. They weren't close. And of course, the year the Knicks trade the pick, they make the playoffs. Like whoever has that Washington pick, do not trade it because you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Maggie, you're Wizards, and I say that because was that your first job or one of your first jobs?
Yep.
Oh my God, that franchise.
Yeah, they were fun when I was covering the team. But you just clowned Manny and EJ for watching a Wizards game, Bulls, on a random Tuesday night on Amazon. That said, I was listening to a podcast about the Wizards draft future. Who's the nerd now?
Well, that's
Hot
important.
kettle.
That's huge.
The actual games don't matter.
This is what happens when your Sixers are, in the bottom of the NBA. You start listening to draft.
Well, this is
I've
how
been there. Trust me. You start listening to draft content and trying to figure out how you're going to fix your team.
That's because some stupid podcaster said the Sixers are right there with the Wizards and the Hornets. Sixers have like 6 All-Stars. Like, that's crazy.
But they're all old and injured.
I love hearing that.
Let's get to Bogish's headlines. What's up, kid?
This is what it sounds like when you join a club that no one wants to be a part of.
1-0 is grounded, out to second. They get 1, they get 2. The Rockies have their 10th win of the season, and they take game 1 of this 3-game series from the Marlins by a final score of 6-4.
Get us out of here. That's Marlins TV, FanDuel Sportsnet Miami, as the Rockies snap their 8-game skid, earning win number 10 on June 2nd.
Their last win was against the Yankees, by the way.
6-4. Colorado interim manager Warren Schaefer in a better mood.
You could just feel it in the dugout that the boys were fighting all night. It's good to see them come out on top. I'm happy for the boys tonight.
And their next win sometime in July.
And hold tight for a month.
Yeah.
If I was the
to the
announcer for the
boys.
Rockies, I'd start going Gus Johnson on this whole thing. Like, over the top, and the Rockies win. I mean...
Captain Jack! My favorite is always heartbroken guys. I love that. Especially in college where guys are homers and the other team's winning and they've got, 10-5 touchdown. I love that.
Or
So this
it'll
guy
be
be
a game
like,
winner, and they're just like, basket made.
yeah. Ground ball to
Basket made,
second,
the
double play.
contest is over.
Rockies
we
win.
lose.
Oh, how about when the PA guy is like that too? Basket for the Bucks.
Sad PA announcer.
Sad PA announcer is a thing.
The A's are still 13 games better than those Rockies, but they're fading fast. Losers of 7 straight, 18 of 19, a 10-4 home loss to the Twins last night. The A's are now 9-20 in Sacramento. The Mets fought off the Dodgers in L.A. 4-3-10. The Padres sneaking past the Giants 1-10 in San Francisco. The Tigers got win number 40, 13-1 over the White Sox. 3 homers from Kerry Carpenter. And Mike Trout still feeling good.
Next pitch, and Trout swings at this one, and this ball is absolutely clobbered. That one is over the green monster. Mike Trout is just hit a ball out. That home run is 10th of the season, a 3-run shot. Angels add on. It's 5-0.
That's Terry Smith on Angels Radio. Trout, 2 other hits in this 7-6 Angels win at Fenway. He's now 8 for 14 since coming off the IL on Friday. Oklahoma softball was down to its last strike last night in OKC, but a 2-run homer kept alive their chance of a 5th consecutive national title until the bottom half of the 7th. Texas Tech winning 3-2 on Lauren Allred's sac fly. The Red Raiders making the best of 3 championship series in their College World Series debut. Game 1 with Texas tomorrow. After that pink stuff and some twerking.
I'm on a boat, everybody look at me, 'cause I'm sailing on a boat.
Stephon Diggs left Cardi B on that boat and went to Patriots OTAs yesterday. Why? Offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels happy to see his new receiver.
He's here today, and we're excited to have an opportunity to work with the guys that are out here and available to us. So I know he's staying up on the information and the material. I'm not concerned about Steph in that regard.
What type of material there, Josh?
The material of 44 waist.
Oh, he's
looked
in shape,
like he
all right.
was studying a lot on that boat.
That video of him and Cardi B, he looks like he's in a trance.
Well,
I understand.
if you were looking at that from that angle, EJ, you might be too.
Entiendo, you know what I mean?
I mean, she's
EJ, you
101.
You would have popped both patella tendons.
When you said popped, I was like, that, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, he showed up at Foxborough probably suddenly looking very boring once you got from that yacht party.
They didn't tell a story about how they actually like put a hood over his head and just dragged him off the boat. Because there's no way he was leaving that boat unless someone got him.
Yeah, like, well, no, we have plenty of things to do. Here's our 10th Dunkin' Donuts.
Here's this chloroform towel. Just breathe into this here.
And an unmarked van that we're going to get you back to Foxborough. No, Bill's gone. They don't do that stuff anymore.
So
folks,
what happened to Cardi, though?
Whereabouts unknown.
Well, I'm trying to find out.
There's no training camp for her. Although it was very not funny because she's going through, I guess, a divorce or, from Offset, this famous rapper. But she started detailing Perloff her expenses for the year. And obviously these are rich people, so take it with a grain of salt. It's like $300 an hour for a piano lesson for their 4-year-old.
What?
And the nanny is $5,000 a week.
How generous of John Legend to give piano lessons to her daughter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
I could see being $300.
I don't remember. We had a nanny a long time ago. How much does a nanny cost normally? It's nothing like that, right?
I think it varies probably where you live. But
it's at least, it's normally like a minimum. $5,000 a week's not bad. That means she's making $250,000 a year. That's not insane.
It's insane. What nannies are making that?
Cardi B's nanny.
Right, Cardi B's nanny is making that, but not regular.
But the piano lesson is crazy.
So that's the one nanny for 2 of the kids. There's 3 kids. So one nanny for 2 of the kids, and that's $5,000 a week. And then there's a less than 1-year-old that she had. That nanny is $500 a day.
God,
just for the 8-month-old baby.
Despise being poor, man.
You want to be rich so you can pay other people exorbitant amount.
I want to fill up my gas tank or something.
I'm telling you, you should become the Shams of breaking stadium news.
Yeah, I heard there's a huge market for that.
Actually, you know what?
You're just talking to yourself in a mirror.
You know what you should become as a nanny, except you would be the worst nanny of all time.
I'd be a spectacular nanny. I was
a great
camp
sitcom.
counselor.
Guess
It'd
what?
be a great sitcom. Don't get me wrong.
He'd be a Manny.
Oh,
yeah.
There
Manny,
you go.
the day camp counselor,
There
didn't
you
hear
go.
that joke when he was growing up.
I think we could do a sitcom script based on this, The Manny.
Do you actually like kids, or you just did it?
Before you answer that,
Okay. Just want to get close to Cardi B.
Would you let him watch your son while you and husband went out for a dinner or something?
100%. This is why I thought it was.
You wouldn't let me watch your kids, bro?
Well, they're old enough now to survive you.
That's fair enough.
I would feel lucky if Manny wanted to come babysit because
I took care of 3 and 4-year-olds for 5 summers, and none of them died. So
you don't think Manny would be a ton of fun? This is why
Yeah.
this whole story about me not telling Manny where I was going on
this is-
vacation got blown out
I
of
was like,
proportion.
wait, what's going on here? Yeah, you're still feeling guilty about
Yeah.
that. That was an overcompensation. You're 100% giving your kids to that guy?
Hell
You
yeah.
were overcompensating,
Listen, the
Maggie Gray.
inflections of my voice, they I can make my voice sound appealing to kids.
Manny, can we go outside and play? No, there's more Knicks tape to watch, kids.
Seriously,
Sit
you're
down.
right. You better
Rage
sit
watching
down.
Game 6. What are the kids going to do?
Okay, you're telling me that if I left Manny at my house with my kid, who's almost 6, and I gave him like $40 for pizza and wings or whatever,
hell yeah,
we
bro.
got a trampoline. You don't think that Manny's going to take good care of my kid? It's fine. We had a water table.
I'm going to teach that kid how to do a backflip by the end of the day.
Maggie, let it go. It was
Seriously.
a miscommunication just because you hid your vacation spot for Manny. Let it go. He doesn't need this kind of lavish praise on his childcare skills.
No, I think you guys got this all wrong. I'd trust Manny before the rest of y'all.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Bang, bang, bang. With my brain
You guys
That's-
were camp
that's the
counselors.
ga-
What are you, dads?
That's the Gary Payne is on the Portland Mount Olympus of childcare takes.
Corvallis. 888-710. No, you guys are too jaded. Like, you've already raised kids. You're out of that stage. You don't want any part of that. Manny's still like a camp counselor.
Lucas would be in charge by the time you got back from dinner.
Follow Yellow Brick Road.
Manny complaining
By the way-
to you. Lucas didn't let me get enough NBA TV time.
Manny be tucked in bed asleep.
Trying to watch Wizards Knicks.
By the way, Lucas is in charge right now with 2 adults at
that's
home. So, 888-710-4ISN. Okay, we have to get to a story Perloff's been dying for us to tackle. We'll do it next.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, the Defensive Player of the Week is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. So I think the most logical thing is to go NBA. And I think EJ is a bigger man and is going to put his Knicks fandom on the side and pick an Indiana Pacer.
No, he's not.
Some tough choices. I think he's going to go with Andrew Nembhard because he went to Gonzaga, his favorite basketball team. He's trying to support him, even though he's like the 5th best Canadian player in the finals.
Zags got dudes.
What's that?
Zags got dudes. That's the Gonzaga slogan.
You're probably, is it his brother in the draft now, too?
Ryan, another great Zag.
So I think he's going Andrew Nembhard with Aaron Nesmith as my backup. Who do you got?
I don't think EJ would give it to a Pacer. I think he and Manny are still recovering from their Knicks loss. He could give it to a different Zag, which would be Chet Holmgren, right? But I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to give it to Lou Dort. OKC keeping Minnesota under 100 points in that Game 5. Dort was awesome. Caruso was good too, but Dort really did a great job on Anthony Edwards.
I'll go with Karl Anthony Towns.
So if you think that I am too biased to give the Pacers credit for their defensive performance against the Knicks, you are right. So we're going to the baseball diamond, and the Defensive Player of the Week comes from a cousin of the great Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Palacios was off balance on a curveball. It's a pop-up third base side. It's a long run. Dingler tips it. Oh, no, come on. Zach McKinstry hauls it in. Wow.
That a courtesy of Bally Sports. Incredible catch from Zach McKinstry, who was Defensive Player of the Week. You heard it there in the call. Dylan Dingler going to the dugout, essentially, sliding, trying to make a catch. Ball deflects. McKinstry quickly grabbed the ball basically off of his calf. An incredible catch last night. One of the best catches you will see this season. So, Zach McKinstry, you are the Defensive Player of the Week.
So, basically, a Dirk Diggler bobbling the ball and giving it to Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yes.
Well do you take anything out of that?
Do you know? Probably not. So, do you guys know the famous Phillies play where Bob Boone in the 1980 World Series dropped the ball and Pete Rose caught it? When Pete Rose died, they played it a lot. It's the exact same play. If anyone out there who can't visualize and knows the Pete Rose catch.
I think I've seen that catch,
it's Pete Rose's most famous defensive play. It's the coolest play. For one guy to drop it, another guy to catch it is amazing.
888-710-4ISN. Okay, it's a story that Perloff has been wanting to get to. But first, Dominic is in San Francisco. Dom, you got about 30 seconds here. Mount Olympus of Portland, Oregon. The 4 sports gods of Portland are who?
Hi, good morning. And good morning to Manny the Nanny. I'm surprised you guys didn't jump on that. I got Walton. I got Walton, Clyde, I got Mariota, and I got Dan Fouts, and I got a fun way to educate yourself on the 12 gods of Mount Olympus, and that's by watching the 60s smash Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that, but there was a while, and thank you, Dom. That's a good Mount Rushmore, but I went back to Dan Fouts' numbers. Now, I didn't watch Dan Fouts play college, so I would have had to really do a deep dive and try to find some film, I guess, or something. Yeah. But the numbers were not, like, eye-popping. And I went to a couple other Portland places, and nobody else really had him on their Mount Rushmore. Now, obviously, became a Hall of Famer.
Olympus.
I mean, if you're doing Olympus, like the gods did have awesome beards, and Dan Fouts had an awesome beard.
True.
That should put him on.
If I want to learn about Olympus, I'm going to watch Disney's Hercules.
No, you got to watch Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans, I was going to say.
Yeah, I know the Jason Argonauts movie. That was on when I was a kid. Clash of the Titans is how I know everything about Greek mythology.
It's so cheesy.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
They redid it recently.
I'm not watching the new one.
Yeah,
I got to go with the old one.
It's so cheesy. It's Harry Hamlin from LA Law for all you olds out there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to get to Saquon Barkley be on the cover of Madden another time.
Wah, wah, wah.
Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you, Manny Rodriguez. Thank you to Andrew Bogish and Andrew Kaplan. Appreciate the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in the chat. We will see you tomorrow where the Mount Olympus heads to Green Bay. Corvallis.
You're in a 5-minute break.